All right, I'm live. Just waiting for people to join the stream. If you're watching the replay, maybe just skip ahead a little bit. But yeah, if you're here, definitely message in the chat. Ask me anything you want: self sabotage, psychology, meditation, um, you know, emotional well being, whatever you want, mental health, trauma, spirituality, literally anything. But yeah, welcome. Hmm. Again, if you're watching the replay, maybe just skip ahead like 10 minutes in. It'll probably be better around that time. If you are watching, send something in the chat. Say hi, say what's up. Welcome to the stream. I appreciate you being here. Again, you're literally free to ask me anything, ask me any question you have, any pain or problem that you have in your life. Literally, just ask and we can start diving into it. Yeah, literally anything: psychology, philosophy, trauma, shadow work, mindfulness meditation, challenging limiting beliefs, getting out of old patterns. Yeah, feel free to literally just message in the chat. This is like my second stream. So, yeah, this is literally just my second time streaming. Like, so yeah, I literally still I'm just figuring out like some of the technical stuff as well. 5 people watching right now. That's pretty awesome. Howdy, everyone. How y'all doing? Just turned a little bit southern there. The howdy, y'all. How y'all doing? 7 people. Oh my god. Howdy, everyone. Again, feel free to just message in the chat. I think live chat. What is up, Juice Daily 11? How you doing? Yeah. The streams usually start pretty slow, to be honest, and then like the first time, my first stream, which I did like last week. Hello, thanks for your videos. Yeah, I'm glad that you enjoy them and that you appreciate them. What do you like about them? What do they help you with? Yeah, like, why are you thankful for my videos? But yeah, the streams usually, I guess, start pretty slow. Did my first one last week, and then around maybe like the 20-minute mark, maybe start to pick up 10 minutes in. But yeah, I'm literally here kind of just like offering like group coaching for the most part. That's kind of like what the intent of my stream is. I was kind of laughing about it beforehand. I'm like, wow, this is kind of just like almost just free group coaching for the most part, assuming people like engage. But it's so much, yeah, it's a lot better if people, like actual group coaching with like a webcam and actually interacting with people, which goes a lot deeper than just texting and typing. But whatever. Yeah, but I am glad that you enjoy my content. I have a lot of really good ideas actually for content. I've been like experimenting and changing a lot of things up with like how I create and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like super excited actually to really get started. You should kind of see the changes maybe in the next like 2 weeks. I'm gonna upload maybe a little bit more this week. Yeah, maybe like 2 or 3 videos uploaded in the next like 7 days. Long form videos, not short form. Short form, it's whenever I want. But yeah, if you're here, say hi. Literally ask me anything you want, any question whatsoever. yeah, like if you watch my content and, you resonate with it at all. If you don't resonate with it, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't be watching my content, but if you do resonate with it, um, yeah, literally just ask me anything that you would like. I'm actually going to look at the recording of this as well. So interesting. Um, but yeah, literally only a few minutes in. I think my first stream I got up to like a high of 13 people, which is awesome. Like it was, yeah, there was like a good amount of engagement as well, which is awesome because the whole point is like I'm doing this because I want to engage with people who watch my things and all that kind of stuff. How do you distinguish someone genuinely becoming authentic from someone building a healthier false self? What does a false self dissolving feel like? So there is no such thing as like a healthier, well, I guess there kind of is, because it's kind of a spectrum of like authenticity versus like falsehood, right? Inauthenticity. So I guess, yeah, in a sense, there is like a healthier false self, but like the false self in general isn't even really healthy, right? If I had to put it on, like a spectrum of health and unhealthy, yeah, falsehood is towards the unhealthy spectrum. So what does the false self dissolving feel like? Um, this is a great question. I actually have this incredible book somewhere back here. I'm just going to get up off my chair for one moment and just recommend it to you as well. Okay, two books, two for one. These are two incredible books: Healing Shame and Guilt by Lawrence Heller and Healing the Child Within by Charles Whitfield. Definitely pick these books up, and I'm going to answer your question in 1 second. So, the the false self is basically a whole bunch of conditioned patterns that we have, and I by false self, I'm going to assume you're not talking about just like the ego in general, but more like the authentic self as just like a healthier ego that is also ready for self transcendence as well. So the false self is basically like forms of conditioning that we have that are all designed to just protect who we are. So, for example, um, maybe like in my childhood home, expressing anger or like sadness, wasn't received well, right? It's like I have to literally develop all sorts of strategies for bracing against those emotions, right? And I can't really express them openly, truthfully, or in like a skilled way because I've battled myself in that way for so long. It's just been like an unconscious struggle for so long. Um, so it's a great question. Becoming authentic. What does the false self? What does the false self dissolving feel like? It feels like you're just getting closer to truth. It's really the difference between connection and disconnection. Like authenticity is literally just connection to yourself, and falsehood and inauthenticity is disconnect because authenticity is just like what's actually true for you, right? Authenticity is just like what is the real inner experience that I have, and in a sense I'm just honoring it. Like I'm living in integrity with my real values, my real needs, my real feelings, right? And I'm like grounded in them. um, I'm skilled at, I don't want to use the word handling them, I always resort to that word though, but I'm skilled at like relating to them in a way that isn't like reactive. So what does a false self dissolving feel like? um, it's hard to describe a subjective experience. But it can feel scary for sure because it's like these are the patterns that you've relied on for so long to survive, right? It can feel like parts of you, yeah, it could be like dying almost in a sense at times. And sometimes it's the exact opposite. It's just like liberating. It's so when I coach people, it's literally both reactions. I get like relief, like, oh, finally. It's like they're carrying a whole, heavy weights. It's like finally I can put that down. It's like I have this backpack on that's just too heavy. Finally, I can put this freaking backpack down. It's so uncomfortable to hold this. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there can be just like fear and like a sense of like, I'm not ready to let this go. I need to hold on to this to survive. And then some more work needs to be done. The transition needs to be just kind of like slower for people who are at that sort of stage. So it can feel scary, it can feel good, it can feel like relief, right? The false self dissolving. In most cases, it feels like relief. That's what I find. It feels um, like, oh, thank God I don't have to do that anymore. Like, thank God I don't need to, um, rely on this old behavioral emotional pattern as well. Yeah, some of the things that I would recommend for, distinguishing between the authentic self and the inauthentic, inauthenticity is right here in this book. This is like actually incredible. Um, yeah, hi Lucas. I've been subscribed for a while. Hello, Annie. And I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. React versus respond is probably the biggest life that's mind changing truth I've experienced. Yeah, I agree, right? Like reactivity is literally just old survival child consciousness for the most part. Yeah, this is another another really good book is literally this one right here. Just super incredible. But I really love that. Yeah, when we're reacting, we're just kind of stuck in like our survival consciousness, our old childhood consciousness. Because most situations don't actually require reactivity. They're just, it's not that urgent. And we have like a sort of false signal, like our anxiety kind of fools us into believing that, like, oh, it's actually this urgent and all that. And reacting is really, I mean, responding, I mean, is really hard, right? Because so much of our conditioning is just the exact opposite. It's like, takes a lot of practice. And especially depending on, like usually if we're hit in a place where, thank you for your answer. Yeah, if you have more questions, by the way, um, AAX, AAEX OE. Yeah. I'll just call you AA from now on. Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah, if you have more questions on that, yeah, like fire away. I'm here to serve you. That's the whole point of me being here right now. But yeah, responding is honestly quite difficult because it's like, if you're hit in a place where like you're habitually repressing things or feel like ashamed of yourself, like it's going to be really hard. It's just going to be hard to respond, right? So when you react, it points to like things that you've been burying inside of you in a particular relationship that you have inside of you, right? Assuming, yeah, it depends on what you're reacting to. But it points to a particular relationship that you have towards life that just needs like gentle examination. And there's no need to judge yourself if you're reacting because nature gave you the ability to react for a good reason. If a tiger is running at you, you should react. It's just nowadays there's usually a lack of tigers running at us, so there's no need to like react, right? Like you have to learn to see like, oh, okay, like I have anxiety now, like I'm feeling a little bit afraid. Yeah, I can notice my internal state. I'm feeling fear and I can welcome that fear. I can just be with my fear. I can feel it consciously, but there's actually no urgency. Like it feels like there's urgency in a situation where, maybe I'm in conflict or there's some kind of form of stress and it feels like there's some urgency, but in actuality, it's actually not urgent. And I can kind of challenge that belief that I have of like, it's urgent. Like it's actually not urgent. And I can slow down. I can feel what I'm feeling. I don't have to make my feeling go away, but feelings usually come with messages, right? Like, yeah. If you guys have, dude, I don't want to yell into the mic. My bad. Uh, if you guys have questions still, yeah, literally just fire away. Yeah, like again, I'm here to serve you, and I'm just super happy to actually even like to be engaging. Thanks for your videos. They help me confront some hard truths. I want to ask, do you believe in an afterlife? If not, how can one deal with the fact that anything you do is temporal and fleeting? I mean, like, yeah, that's a good question because like where's the boundary line between like any form of life whatsoever? Like where's the boundary line separating death from life? Like these are artificial distinctions in the human mind. And it depends what you mean by an afterlife. Like, am I going to go to like heaven and eat steaks all day and everyone that I love is there and we're going to sing kumbaya? Not really. But, is consciousness in my brain? No. Like, am I actually a body? No. Am I a mind? No. Like, these are just like facts about my experience when I learn how to see my experience clearly and inquire into it and have some, yeah, like deep, deep, deep awakening experiences, some spiritual experiences into the nature of reality. How can one deal with the fact that anything you do is temporal and fleeting? Grieve. Yeah, sometimes it's yeah. What can you yeah? What are you gonna do with that? Yeah, sometimes it's grief, right? It's like I have to let go of things, and it's also excitement and liberating. Like thank God things change. It would be really boring if like all of life was just the wall. Like thank God everything is fleeting. Thank God there's change because it'd be really boring if my whole life was just the wall. Like it's so gratitude, grief, and yeah, right. If something is important to you and it's leaving, it's grief, right? Grief signals that you're losing something very important to you, and you need to actually consciously grieve things that you lose. And also, yeah, new opportunities can be exciting. So it depends on what is actually fleeting. It's not just a depressing thing, like that everything is fleeting and temporary. Like it's not, yeah, it doesn't have to just be depressing, right? Like kind of, if you ever played with like um, maybe like Legos or like silly putty or something, or even like clay, right? Like clay can take on like any shape that you choose to make with it. You can make a cup, you can make a bowl, you can make like a sculpture or something. It's like thank God that the clay can take on any form, just like life. Life is just made of consciousness that can take on any particular form, right? Yeah, like I'm just, moving energy, like, occurring in completely empty consciousness, fluctuating energy. Yeah, exactly. State of continual flux. Exactly. But yeah, um, I hope that kind of answers your question. Yeah, like afterlife, like, what is this life for the most part? Like really, like what is it even? What is here now? Right? Like what is this direct experience that we're actually having? Right? Because there's no such thing as my identity. It's completely constructed, right? So it's like, am I going to go to an afterlife? My ego going like, no. Um, but I'm not the ego. But simultaneously, paradoxically, I am because what I am is completely interconnected and intertwined with absolutely everything. And I meant something after this, our life. Oh, after this? Yeah. And I meant something after this thing we call our life from the ego. I'm a little bit confused. Thanks. I got to read this again. Got to comprehend it. Thanks for your answer. And I meant something after this thing we call our life from the ego, not heaven. Yeah, there's like a continuity of consciousness beyond the brain. Yes. Yeah, like you can actually become conscious that like consciousness is not occurring in the brain. Like it's like, yeah, like not a matter of like you believe that to be true. It's like actually you're conscious of it. And like you don't need someone to tell you what's true and what's false because you can actually get what is true about the nature of reality directly because this is reality right here. There's no separation between you and the actual truth of reality because it's literally just this. But yeah, I like the question. Um, yeah, it's good stuff. There's yeah, honestly, I have like quite a few good books on near death experiences as well and all that kind of stuff. It's not something that I think about too much actually. Honestly, this is a good one. Oop, I got too many books on this bookshelf. Yeah, something that's really worth contemplating is literally just like how deeply we actually like just deny death as human beings, right? Like yeah, death is literally just like such a good thing to like contemplate because it really wakes you up. It's like yeah, your life is very short. You're going to die and it's that moment will come far sooner than you like to think. Like way sooner. It's come way sooner than what you usually like to think. Welcome everyone joining the stream by the way. If you have questions just let me know. Um and we're so programmed. Oh yeah, thank you, Mark. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see that you're here as well. Yeah, we're so programmed to literally just deny like our own death and the fact that we're gonna die one day. And you can use death to wake you up. That's what um, Marcus Aurelius did. Roman Empire, Roman Emperor. I mean, and philosopher, right? Memento mori, right? Remember death. He would use it to yeah, stay in touch with like what's actually important to him. But yeah, we have so many psychological mechanisms kind of like preventing us from like Um, fully accepting that like our humanity, like, our finite being is literally going to die. Thanks for the suggestion. Yep, no problem. Um, yeah, if you guys have questions whatsoever, let me know. Like literally anything at all, like anything you struggle with whatsoever. Shadow integration, spirituality, spiritual awakening and enlightenment, shadow work, your dream career, finding what you're passionate about, like all these kinds of things. Thoughts on reincarnation? Um, yeah, everyone's just really hitting me with like all of the spiritual questions right now. I have a couple of questions. One of them touch death in a very specific way. Yeah, you're free. You're literally free to. Um, you're free to ask. Yeah, thoughts on reincarnation? Yeah. Yeah, life is literally just like energy recycling itself, right? So yeah. Do I have any particular thoughts? Again, it's not something that I usually actually like contemplate too much. Like I don't contemplate like what happens after I die, like very much. I contemplate more so just like what is being, more like what is this, what am I, and these kinds of things, um, and just like practical things in my life to just deepen integration. Um, but yeah, I've had like personal experiences with like reincarnation stuff like that. Buddhism has a lot of good stuff. To be honest, I'd recommend just reading like Buddhist texts to go deeper into that. Because yeah, it's always difficult to see the next stage. Same rings true with the topic of death. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty esoteric stuff that we're talking about right now. I was not actually expecting to talk about the most esoteric stuff on the planet for right now. Living is more interesting. Both are very interesting, but like, yeah, the one is, yeah, um, things when they get too philosophical, they become a bit impractical. Like I like asking philosophical questions, but at the same time, like you know, like your philosophy should kind of line up with life itself and like things that can be grounded in indirect experience. It's good to ask obviously philosophical questions, but like yeah, just don't get carried away because like it's can easily become a distraction from just like being conscious in this moment and just deepening your connection to yourself in this moment and to other people and like yeah just deepening your whole awakening and consciousness evolution progress or process. I mean, is it okay to end a deep healing phase that healed my shame and depression and just live normally without making healing my whole identity after that? Does it make my process wrong? Yeah, your process is completely wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Love you, man. Um, definitely give it a place in your identity. Like if you resonate with it and it matters to you, and like yeah, it's like you don't need to make it your whole identity, of course. Like you don't need to like be me, for example, where like it's like a big part of who you are and what you always do and talk about. But like, yeah, the thing is like a lot of the things that we talk about here aren't things you do like one time, right? Like it's stuff that like keeps, it needs to be returned to over and over and over again, like the gym, right? Like brushing your teeth, right? If you want to like maintain healing, like you need to actually like do practices and like actually kind of care for your well-being in multiple areas of life. So definitely make sure it has a good place in your identity and your sense of self. Give it a good space, but it doesn't need to be everything. Like again, even like healing isn't everything that I that I do. Yesterday I went for a nice ride on my e-bike, right? I just enjoyed riding my electric bike here in Toronto because it was just fun. I just decided to do it. Uh, you know. Yeah. Um but yeah, like it doesn't make your healing process wrong if you just like focusing on other things because again like this is a bit of like an interesting separation that you're making, right? Because sometimes just focusing on something else, whether it's like going for a walk or starting a business or starting a relationship or doing some kind of creative project, um yeah, that can be like just really healing. It's really like yeah, What's exciting to you? Isn't there something a bit narcissistic slash moral superiority in being stuck in healing? Um, I don't really know what you mean by that. Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Um, yeah, I would need more information to actually. I don't entirely understand the question. What does it mean to integrate the shadow aspects of yourself when they can hurt you or others? How do you integrate them in a healthy way? So yeah, that's really good. I That's a super good question. Um, yeah, I'm gonna stay with that for a little bit because that's just a top tier question, to be quite honest. So yeah, integrating the shadow aspects of yourself. The shadow is unconscious, right? Like things you deny and repress about yourself. Maybe like, aggression is a good one, right? Aggression is is just, I'm just gonna stay with that because you also mentioned hurting yourself and others. Um, so yeah, the thing about the shadow is that it's not usually in your conscious sense of identity, right? It's something that you say, "Oh, like that's not me. Like this is nothing like me," right? Um, and a big part of shadow integration is learning to bring that more and more into your conscious sense of identity because it is there inside of your mind, but you just don't include it. You keep it hidden from yourself. So a big part of shadow integration is learning how to bring that energy, and it's really like a somatic experience, into the forefront of your mind, and learning how do I just like accept this and see what's true about this and bring this into who I am in a healthy way, right? Going back to aggression, like nature gave you the ability to fight, right? You have an actual fight response, right? For a good reason. So how do you integrate aspects of yourself when they can hurt you or others? The aspect itself is never negative. What you do with it can be. There's a difference between the feeling or the instinct or whatever it is, and then what you do with it. Like anger is not punching someone in the face. That's aggression, right? That's unhealthy forms of aggression, just randomly punching someone in the face. But anger is there to maybe signal that like someone's disrespecting you. You should set a boundary, right? It's a very self-protective energy, actually. Um, Integrating them in a healthy way. To be honest, like I would recommend picking up books as well. Like if you want to go deep into that question, like I recommend Bringing Your Shadow Out of the Dark by Robert Augustus Masters. I've recommended it quite a few times on my channel, and just the work of Robert Augustus Masters, like amazing shadow integration work. Um, but the shadow in and of itself isn't just going to randomly hurt people. It's what you do with it, right? Like aggression is neither positive nor negative. It's entirely contextual. If I punch someone in the face in a boxing ring, that's good for me, right? Because now I'm winning the boxing fight, right? But if I punch someone in the face on the street, that's not very good, right? So it's entirely relative to context, right? And usually when we're traumatized and we have things in our shadow, we take things very absolutely. Like aggression is bad, but if someone attacks you, are you just gonna sit there and let them? No, like you're not gonna just sit there and let them attack you. It's actually like your nervous system wants to fight back and to defend itself. That's like a natural and healthy impulse that you actually have. Um, so how do you integrate them in a healthy way? So again, to go way deeper, I'd recommend reading "Bringing Your Shadow Out of the Dark" by Robert Augustus Masters. But it's bringing them into your life, right? Like acknowledging that these shadow aspects are true. They exist inside of you. They're not just in those other people out there. They're inside of you, and really like accepting that, which can be sometimes a brutal pill to swallow. Like, oh, I have like forms of aggression inside of me. Everyone does, right? Like, yeah, I can go a lot deeper, like forms of racism, things like that, right? A great book on the inner racist is "Releasing Our Burdens" by Thomas Hubel and Richard Schwartz. I have tribal tendencies, right? Everyone does. There's brutal aspects to human psychology. Like I have an impulse to kill, a killing instinct, right? These are like brutal things to recognize about yourself, but nonetheless, they are there. Um, and it's really, yeah, a matter of like bringing them into your conscious sense of self and mind, and just, yeah, forming intimacy and connection with them rather than always battling them because they don't need to, well, you don't always need to fight against them. So integration in a healthy way basically also has an instinctual feeling of being healthy. That's like a really important thing is that like it actually, although it can be challenging and it can be difficult, like instinctually it feels like you're not repressing yourself, which is it's like relieving. Okay. Um I'm not sure if I under canalize it. I asked because I used to worry I was failing if I didn't meditate for hours. You don't need to meditate for hours. Meditation retreats are really great. It's funny. I was actually thinking about booking one today. It's funny, but yeah, like healing isn't just doing a million hours of meditation. It's like how do you in this moment like practically relate to a feeling that you have or like relate to like money or it's not just like in the practice itself, it's in like the living breathing relationship that you have to life and to who you are right now. My identity shifted during healing, but I didn't keep it up the way you did. I guess it's okay. Awesome. I'm 24 and without a job. Things have been pretty tough lately, crippling anxiety and insecurities. I've never been able to put myself out there. Your videos have been really helpful. I'm glad that they are actually helping you. Um to be honest, yeah. Where's this? I have a good book right here, honestly. I'm going to recommend it. Like apparently all I do is recommend books. So there's a few really good like financial books I recommend. This one right here, Wired for Wealth, is incredible because it really shows you like self-sabotaging behaviors and a lot of like really like money psychology in general is just super important and practical to learn. It's a good topic. Wired for Wealth. I'll put it right in front of here. By Brad Klontz. I hope I said that name right. Klontz. Um, yeah. I recommend, yeah, like financial psychology is just so useful. Appreciate all the book recommendations, man. Yeah, I used to actually have a book list, but I got rid of it because it's not as useful to just throw a list at someone and people just screenshot it, save it, and go on to the next thing. It's like, yeah, I just offer more like practical, structured things. I recommend books in my videos as well all the time. But yeah, ways to channel it. I mix Spanish and English. Sorry. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, exactly. Ways to channel it and to give it like a space um, in your life. Yeah, give it a place in your psyche, give it a place in your mind when it comes to integrating the shadow. Again, for anyone here, feel free to ask me any question that you want. Self sabotage, shadow psychology, trauma psychology, um, career relationships, health and well being, so like literally mindfulness meditation. But yeah, um, yeah, healing isn't like obviously practices like mindfulness meditation are all really good and all that stuff, but healing isn't just limited to like, oh, I need to meditate for hours every day forever or else I'm not healing. Although meditation's great and that practice is awesome. Um, healing is literally just connecting to yourself in this moment and remaining like not needing to rely on old patterns of disconnection for the most part. To put it super simply, healing is literally like, oh, I can remain in patterns of connection rather than in states of disconnection. Because you can use meditation to disconnect. You can use meditation to like avoid things in your life that actually need your attention. Strategic awareness. Yeah, like yeah. What do you mean by strategic awareness? Just out of my own curiosity. But yeah, largely like yeah, I think we agree. It's pretty hot in my room at the moment. I think I'm going to only stream for about 1 hour, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how it goes and all that, and the amount of energy that I have because I've been working a lot recently, and and yeah, I don't want to burn myself out. To heal through this breakup, I should just stay present with the pain and disappointment and notice how I relate to it. Um, yeah, like yes, in theory. I'd recommend practicing mindfulness. Like get a good meditation practice and like build your capacity to be with yourself and emotion, right? Because usually in our culture, there's just all sorts of forms of trauma, and we're just like never taught how to be with an emotion ever, or how to just connect to ourselves. Any of this kind of stuff, any of this kind of like basic mental health, psychological health stuff. There's like no education on it almost anywhere in our childhood. Yeah, so, like, I actually it's funny, I actually have a video, like, how to meditate to heal trauma, like, coming I literally recorded it yesterday, I edited it yesterday. I'm gonna upload it maybe, like, today or tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. Um, but yeah, right, like, the breakup yeah, staying like, grieve, it's a lot of grief, right? Like, grieving the future that you envisioned, um, like, really grieving the loss, right? Because losing a relationship is, like, a significant thing. Um And exactly, disappointment. That's such a good word, right? Because like it is disappointing, right? And it's just like as an adult, it's like you have the ability to remain with the feeling of disappointment. But yeah, that is like a core part of it. It's like how do I just stay present with these feelings and then like how do I not shame myself, right? Like how do I get out of cycles of disconnect and shame? Which again, this book right here, absolutely incredible. Healing Shame and Guilt. Yeah, Healing Shame and Guilt by Lawrence Heller. Super good. I feel massive anxiety talking to people after meditating. I don't know why. Any help? I don't meditate. I can communicate fine. If I don't meditate, I can communicate fine. What is your anxiety trying to tell you? What are you actually afraid of? Right? Like your anxiety is there. And it makes sense because usually after meditation, we're in like a more of like a bit of more like a flexible state, right? We're more open. And usually, when we're anxious, there's actually something trying to arise inside of us. This is a big theme of anxiety, and this is a really good point. So, when we're anxious, there's something trying to actually arise inside of us, but we usually are fighting it at some level. And that friction, that internal conflict, is actually often anxiety. Something is trying to pop up, and I don't let it. And I'm always like that itself is literally like the cause of a significant amount of anxiety. Anxiety itself is a pretty like disconnecting place to be because there's something true inside of you that's trying to arise. Right. So what are you actually afraid of? That's something to get clear about. Am I afraid of other people judging me? Am I afraid of forms of rejection? Right. Like the anxiety could literally be like a fear that you've buried that is finally your system feels safe enough to let it arise. It's not that meditation isn't working for you. It's that it's actually working perfectly. It's that these buried forms of fears and stuff are finally coming to the surface because your nervous system feels safe enough to actually like be conscious of them and form a relationship to them. And if it's really struggling, honestly, like receive support. Like don't expect to do a lot of this kind of stuff like just solo because it's just really hard. Yeah, it really hurts. Thanks. Exactly. Yeah, the breakup for sure, man. Really feel into your heart as well. Like, and I'd recommend like, you know, learn to hold like a dual perspective as well, in a sense of like it hurts and it disappoints, and like also like I'm safe to go through this pain and this disappointment. And I will also be able to like heal from it. Like it hurts right now, right? I don't need to avoid the hurt. I'm capable of remaining with the hurt, and I will also like get through it. Um, um, how can I? Uh, okay, North Star. I don't understand the thing that you typed. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. I can't understand. Thank you for the book recommendation. I'll look into it. Thank you. I'll look into it more. Um, how can I provide? Yeah, it's just the typing is a little bit too rough. I'm sorry. How do you view facing death in the context of real danger, like war? I'm close to Ukraine, and the conflict spilled into my country, which was terrifying. Since then, I'm struggling to relate to death. Um, Yeah, it's a that's a whole conversation. But briefly, because I'm not going to go into an extreme amount of time just into death, because I've spoken about this a bit already. This stream, I do want to talk about other things as well. But um, yeah, like as a human being, you just have an impulse to like want to like a basic desire to keep surviving. Um, and if your environment is very dangerous, then yeah, it's hard. It's a hard thing to say, but like if your environment is dangerous and doesn't support you, it's wise to go to another environment at some point in time. Because I don't know your exact living situations and all that, but um, yeah, like really like notice like yeah, you're very afraid of dying and really like connect with that fear as well. Like as it even like pops up, it's like oh like in real time, like in my body, like I feel this deep desire to want to continue living and just like an actual sense of love for life. It's like I don't want my life to end. Like please, like I really want to stay here. But if the environment that you're in is really bad, like it's wise to just look at like alternative environments that could be healthier. And I know that's more of a long-term plan. That's not like a 5-minute thing. But that's something that people actually come to me a lot with, not that specific thing, but like things, I've talked to so many people who like they're not satisfied with their environment. And like unless you want to like contribute greatly to your environment and you really want to bring the love to your environment and like really make it a great place, like leave. Like if your environment is just very dysfunctional and hard to get your needs met in, like you have agency and you can in time go somewhere that is a healthier environment for you to be in because it'll just help you a lot. Um, I also feel like I don't know how to communicate after meditating. It's so strange. Only after meditating. Um, yeah, what does that mean to you? You don't know how to continue communicating. What's that experience like? You don't know how to communicate after meditating. There's also like a lot more attunement that happens after meditation. There's like a sensitivity to the energy in the moment. And it's also like, yeah, I understand. It can definitely be like, yeah. But yeah, it's a bit hard for me to say exactly. Like you feel dissociated. And even when you're meditating, like, yeah, it's worth diving into like what you're doing when you're meditating as well. Because meditation largely you want to use it to like connect to present sensations, connect to what's going on in the moment. What are your thoughts on psychedelics, especially now that psilocybin has been at the center of conversation when it comes to dealing with depression and anxiety? Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts um, on that. How can I manifest? Um, yeah, so obviously, like, there's so much research on psychedelics and all that. Like, it definitely can be a very valuable tool. Um, but like, there's so much like just proceed with caution. Like, from my position, like, I don't know who I'm talking to. If anyone's like mentally unstable or like you think you're going to take it and like solve all your life's problems, like that's just not what's going to happen. Like, do it responsibly and in a safe environment, and there's legal consequences and all that. So yeah, disclaimer. um, but it really depends on the person. Like I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like someone can take them. Like you can look at like the story of like Connor Murphy, for example, where like I think he was doing ayahuasca and he was like already it looks like he was like mentally unstable, and yeah, it didn't really have very positive effects on him. And then there's all sorts of other stuff like yeah, psilocybin and like addiction related stuff where it's like helping people to it's really significantly helping with like maybe like tobacco addiction. There's all sorts of stuff on that. And like, yeah, other forms of like depression and mental health and anxiety. And also a lot of the psychedelic space as it becomes more mainstream is being bought up by like a lot of like, yeah, just, you know, um, companies that don't really have good intentions, right? Like just it's yeah, again, like a really nuanced topic for the most part, right? I don't even personally believe like most people are actually even like ready for psychedelics or anything like that, or even like spiritual awakening and stuff. Most people on the planet aren't. It's just like too advanced. But yeah, um, psychedelic assisted psychotherapy has also had a lot of like good success with a lot of people as well. Yeah, like the whole like the context is what's more important here. That's like, there's no like clear cut answer. And because I'm just talking to like an audience of people, I'm just like refusing to give a clear cut answer. Um, yeah. Do your own research for the most part is all I'm gonna say on that. I don't know how to be myself anymore. Maybe I got lost in overanalyzing psychology and creative fate. Which want to understand who I really am and learn to just exist in the present. Do you have a meditation practice? Like, yeah, if you're over I've talked to a lot of people who just like they hear my kind of content, maybe like this like therapy psychology content, but like the integration component is like really, really not there. Like they can give a lot of good answers like mentally, but like when it comes to the practical component of like actually integrating it and making it who they are, there's like a massive struggle there. Like most people I speak to, that's actually just the case. Because it really requires a lot of dedication to like go deep in integration work, consciousness work, spirituality, things like that. You need to have like a your own psychological development, and requires like a vision for like who you want to be in your future and all that. But it sounds like you're overthinking it for the most part. Get lost in overanalyzing. I don't know how to be myself. Being yourself is just about what's true for you right now, right? It's just about connecting with your inner world and having integrity and living in alignment with your inner world, which often we feel a lot of shame around our inner world, around certain feelings, needs, thoughts that we have. We repress and we fight ourselves and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, practicing meditation is just um, super important, just like as a practical, yeah, super practical thing. And reading books, like, you know, yeah, just really bringing it into like your actual life, writing, meditation, like actually just feeling your emotions directly. Um, yeah, Mark, I'm really glad that you love my content. Yeah, like it's always incredible when I receive like stuff like that. Like it helped me literally turn my life 180 degrees. Like that's, yeah, I've literally I've received so many incredible comments like that. That's always just like incredible to see. Thank you. I really appreciate that love, by the way. Have you seen any other healing and psychology content creator who makes such practical and meaningful videos though? I like your use of the word practical because that's really what I focus on because um like that's where the rubber meets the road. Like that's where that's just the most important part is like making it practical for the most part, or else we're just like kind of mentally masturbating. We're just like thinking and too philosophical. Like you don't want to get overly philosophical. You need the right amount of philosophical and the right amount of just practical and grounded. And you have to like move between them depending on what's necessary and needed in the moment. I could tell you that at this level of awareness at this time with our current society, practically it's hard to integrate as from all angles. Society is just trying to pull you back to the old self. I agree. There's a lot of very real external pressures. There's also what you do with external pressures as well though. But yeah, society in general, like it's like an amusement park of the ego, right? Entertainment. Lucas, or how did you build the habit of reading? Also, what fiction do you read? I don't really read a lot of fiction actually. Um, did when I was younger, but I'm just like less interested in it. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I do like a lot of like, yeah, I'm a big fan of like storytelling and all that kind of stuff, but um, I just don't read much fiction. I'm just kind of focused on other things for the most part. There's just other things that are more meaningful to me at the moment. But I do actually have plans in the future to read more fiction potentially. But I'm going to go back to this one. Yeah, society is trying to pull you back into the old self. Yes, right. Like so much of our society is running on trauma, unconsciousness, things like that. But there's also just like yeah, what you do with the situation that you actually have, because society also offers a lot of opportunities to bring you out of the old self. Like, look, you're literally watching me, a guy who's spent 8+ years meditating, done multiple meditation retreats, read 400 plus books, has coached dozens of people over the years, like for free, right? So, yeah, society also has ways of bringing you out of the old self, but a lot of it's also designed to pull you back to the old self. Choose what you engage with. And then when you're engaging in unhealthy patterns, gently inquire into why you're doing that. Like you have a strategy, you want to um, evolve in your consciousness and your personal growth and all that stuff. But your actions might go in the opposite direction. And there's an internal state that's driving that. There's something going on internally that's um, leading to you not acting in alignment with your goals, right? And even just setting a clear vision for yourself is super important. So, how did you build the habit of reading? Um, so, at first, it was many many years ago, and I was reading a lot of books like David Data, Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art, Way of the Superior Man, things like that, which are awesome books. Love those two books. And they were extremely valuable. And at first, there was a bit of resistance to like continuing reading, but I just kind of like continued doing it anyway. As funny as it is, like it has become my sense of self. Like I'm a person who reads. Like it's like baked into my identity. Like I'm a reader. Like I can identify with that label. Um, so reading as a reader, it just comes naturally. Like I don't have to like try anymore. It's just like, of course I read. Like that's what I do. It's who I am. But how did I do it? Um, Eliminating distractions was a big part, and just having a vision for myself. Like, who would I be if I actually read a lot of books? Like, how would that impact my life? Like really, like it's like who? Not even who am I going to be just after I read these books? Like, who am I going to be in like 20 years from now? Like, how is this going to impact my mind? And like, really, just having a vision for myself was like the biggest way that I built the habit of reading. Maybe I need direction and guidance. It's like spiral sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I am being what I am, and then I feel terrible. Can you suggest what's the first step I should do? It sounds like there's a lot of like conflicting things going on internally, which is like, yeah. Um, the first thing that you should do right now is just if you're sitting, notice your butt on the chair, feel your feet on the floor, connect to yourself in this moment, and then just keep going from there. Okay, these are my feeling of my feet on the floor, my hand on my desk, and you're just practicing opening up to this present experience. The biggest thing you can do is learn how to differentiate between how you disconnect from yourself and then how you remain in states of connection, right? This is like the biggest thing right here because inauthenticity, I think that was your original question, right? It was related to authenticity, if I do remember. Yeah. Authenticity is always connection to yourself, and disconnection is always inauthenticity. So this book right here, like, oh, yeah, hopefully you can read it. Honestly, like one of the things that's just really important is, just picking up some books on a topic. Like when you have a problem, just like, yeah, like read about it. You need a certain level of depth of understanding as well that books like, you know, will give you. Like just a YouTube video won't really give you the level of depth that like reading the whole book can give you. Right. So really you're learning how to just connect to yourself and to feel safe being in states of connection to yourself. That's like basically essential. And then when you're disconnecting from yourself, you're just kind of gently noticing, like, oh, I'm in a state of disconnection. Like, do I really need to remain in this state of disconnection? Do I need to rely on my strategies of disconnecting from myself? Right. So if it's like hard to be yourself, it's because you disconnect from yourself continuously. Overanalyzing as well, as you mentioned earlier, could just be a strategy of disconnecting, which it largely is. You're just staying in your head, but you're not actually in the present and grounded somatic experience. You're not in your flesh, and you're just not in your flesh and in like the somatic actual experience that you have and the feeling of this experience. not actually in the present when you're just like hyper analyzing. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here, by the way. If you guys have questions at all, let me know. Literally about anything, but try and keep it on topic. Psychology, spirituality, mindfulness, personal growth, healing, career, life direction, relationships, whatever you want. Yeah, bring up any topic that you want. Where do you struggle in your life right now? Feel free to ask away. But as usual, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. Um, and yeah, sometimes, uh, yeah, sometimes when I'm asked a question, it's like I could talk about it for way too long, and I'm like, how do I just give a good, concise answer? And I'm currently working on that, to be honest. Of like, want to give a good answer, but I don't want to ramble on for too long. I'm currently processing a lot of deconnection towards myself and healing from past traumas. However, the people in my environment create a distance and dislike my growth and hermetic practices. Yeah. You don't, who are the people in your environment, right? Like if, you know, you're not, as an adult, you're not, if you are an adult, you're not dependent on any other human being as an adult, right? Like as an adult, you don't need a particular person, right? So like your environment and the people in your environment, um, you know, there are other environments. There's other people to interact with who you will feel supported by in a lot of like your practices, whether it's like meditation or reading or journaling or whatever it is that you're doing. And a lot of sometimes when you grow, the people around you do not like that. They feel that it's different, and they do not like that. Subconsciously, it kind of triggers them because it's like, they're feeling like it starts to kind of trigger like the version of themselves that they can become, but they're not, because they're really kind of choosing not to. Thank you for taking the time to answer our questions. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to be here. Hello, Dennis. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. I think I had a high of 20 people on the stream just a moment ago, which is awesome. That's super cool. How do you select the books to read? So many years ago, I purchased a book list from a content creator that I really liked for about $50 US, I think. And that really helped me to like get my foot in the door. And for the most part, like from content creators that I really liked many years ago, that really helped me to like guide me in the direction of like, really good books. Now I can just kind of like, it's very easy for me to like just pick a really good book. But a lot of it's just based on like, what do I feel like I need the most in my life right now? Like, what am I excited by? Like, what am I needing? What am I most interested in? It comes back to just like, what do I feel? That's like a big thing on how I actually select books. Like if I want to go deeper on like, if I feel the urge to go deeper on whatever, uh, spirituality or something, maybe I'll like read a book on spirituality. Or if I feel like I want to go deeper on like financial psychology, then I'll do that or whatever. Oh my God, Virgo. How you doing, man? It's so good to see you. That's hilarious. Yeah, indeed. Finally, I'm live streaming. I did not for so long, and I decided why not? I will try and do about one per week and leave it at that for now. I've been trying. Wait, I've resigned from my job several months ago after relapsing. My use became problematic and resigning. I'm trying to find a field that better aligns with me since then. Currently learning animation. That sounds really good. You have to make sure the things that you do actually just align with you, or else, like when you're not really listening to your soul's calling, there's just going to be a pain there, right? There's like a direction that yeah, you will likely feel called to go in, and people habitually don't really listen to that for the most part is what I find. Um, but yeah, to clarify on that, we have like a whole sort of guidance system, right? Like our instincts, our emotions, we have all sorts of like our whole nervous system. We just have a guidance system that we really need to listen to and trust. Super intelligent, but we will doubt it. We will feel as though, yeah, I can't listen to it. There's something wrong with me, right? Subconsciously, and that interferes with our ability to just like pick a path that actually aligns with us. Okay, so what's the turning point of your spiritual journey? How it started? I guess okay, yeah, how it started. So one day I decided to practice meditation. I noticed like, oh, there's pain in my life, there's suffering. Um, it's very Buddhist, to be honest. There's pain and suffering in my life. This is, it doesn't matter what I do, doesn't seem to go away. So I need to just like know myself. It's gotta be a better way to live. So I started practicing meditation. Um, and the first time I couldn't even do it for 30 seconds. And I got up in anger and I quit. But I knew that I really I could see the value of it. I knew that if I can't sit in meditation for like 30 seconds and just be okay, that I'm going to have massive issues in my life. And that was many, many years ago now, like 8 years ago. Um, I also have on my Instagram like a pinned post on my story. So if you want to read that, definitely really good. But yeah, mostly like forms of suffering. I find that that's like how most people get into it. It's like, oh, I'm suffering. I don't really want to be suffering. This is painful. I need to try something else. And yeah, that got me into it. And then just like a desire, like we all have a need to self actualize and self transcend. Like we have actual needs for self actualization. When we don't get our needs met, we get sick. It's like if you don't have vitamin C, like your body breaks down. If you don't get B12, your body breaks down. You become malnourished. And it's the same thing with self actualization, self transcendence, things like this. Like when you don't get those needs met, there's a pain there, and you might not really know exactly what the pain is, but it's there and you feel it, but you can't connect it to something. So I think deep down, I was just kind of feeling the pain of not self actualizing, not feeling connected to a sense of purpose, not feeling connected to my heart, not feeling connected to myself, to make it just very broad. And I just really kind of picked it up intuitively that it's like, oh, I need to like start spending time connecting to myself. And that's really kind of like how it started. Right. At a subconscious level, I realized that. How does one deal with uncertainty? I almost have an anxiety ball in my chest. Whenever I get a bit uncertain, the feeling of uncertainty, that feeling, there's an energy to uncertainty that needs to be accepted because the reality is you're absolutely uncertain about so many things. Like you don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes from now. You're entirely uncertain about that. But we will form beliefs to brace against uncertainty, right? We like predictability and stability. Um, we will always brace against unpredictability and uncertainty. And it's really looking at your relationship to uncertainty. It's looking at like when this feeling pops up, like what do I do? Do I scroll? Do I avoid? Do I numb? Or it's like, okay, I'm going to sit here undistracted in my environment. I'm going to learn how to feel uncertainty and realize that in this moment, I am safe to feel uncertain. I need to build a healthier relationship to uncertainty by welcoming it into my consciousness. And what do you feel uncertain about more specifically? Everything. I feel uncertain about everything. But yeah, life is the ultimate uncertainty. Life is fundamentally unpredictable and chaotic and ever changing, right? So it's a matter of like I can't end uncertainty, but I can change my relationship to uncertainty. Is it okay when parents struggle to accept their child as an independent person with their own nervous system? For example, they get angry when you set boundaries or have preferences. Um, so yeah, that's an awesome question. Um, Yeah, when a parent struggles to accept their own child as an independent person, it kind of signals like, I don't trust you, right? Like, I don't trust, it signals like, oh, like, yeah, I don't trust you. right? I don't trust you to make good decisions for yourself or to learn from the mistakes that you made or things like that, right? It's like a lack of faith in the intelligence of the kid and really the intelligence of life itself. And it definitely interferes with the development of the kid for sure. Because as a kid, you have opposing needs for attachment and connection, and then you also have needs for separation, individuation, being an independent self with my own feelings, thoughts, needs, distinct from everything else, and also a need to be connected to everything. And these are opposing needs, and it's like a form of tension in most people. It's a form of inner conflict. And yeah, like when parents struggle to accept their kid as an independent person, and they get mad when they set boundaries and have preferences, it definitely signals certain messages like, yeah, you're not good enough. Like, we can't trust you. You're not worth trusting. You're not intelligent enough to make good decisions on your own, things like that. And yeah, sometimes some of that could be partially true, but like, you can't stifle your kid. You can't just aim to control them. They need a certain amount of freedom and a certain amount of restriction as well, right? They need a certain amount of freedom within a set of limitations because that's life. Life is, yeah, infinity, um, acting like it's finite, and we have to exist within a certain set of limitations, but less non duality because this is just a bit more practical. um, Yeah, it's triggering, like, emotional problems in the parent. Yeah, certain fears that they have of, like, "My son will die," or "My daughter will die," or "They will not make good decisions," or whatever it is. I am un wait, okay. Let me see. "I'm having trouble making friends and maintaining friendships. This due to fear of getting hurt or not working out. It makes me really anxious to meet new people. How do I confront my fear?" Um, I feel like you know the answer to that. You should talk to more people. It's as simple as that. Basically, if you are always getting in your own way, um, at some level you believe that like you're not good enough to have this thing, fear of it not working out. At some level there's like an unworthiness there. I'm not good enough to have this thing. It makes me anxious to meet new people. Maybe, yeah, like why, what are you anxious about, right? What are you afraid about? What are you afraid of, I mean? Usually fears of rejection for the most part, right? So that, yeah, triggers the relationship that you have to yourself that's based on shame. um, so for the most part, emotional intelligence and just talking to people, that's it. Yeah, that's literally the whole thing. Practice meditation, build emotional intelligence, self reflect, learn how to process uncomfortable feelings, build your capacity to connect to other people because your capacity for connection and your capacity for feeling emotion are not fixed things. They're things that you can develop and evolve. Um, mm, so, yeah, it's really challenging that fear and challenging that belief of like, oh, if I get hurt, something bad is really going to happen, or it's not going to work out. My whole life is going to go to crap or whatever. There's limiting beliefs that are present as well that need to be challenged. But for the most part, just talking to people, literally just interacting with people and realizing that it's safe for you to interact with people. If you get rejected, it's painful, it hurts, but you can relate to rejection from adult consciousness, not child consciousness. You can relate to rejection from a place of it's disappointing and it hurts, but like I can handle disappointment. Like I can feel disappointed and I'm safe to feel disappointed. I am uncertain what's going to happen in 5 seconds and my brain hates it. I can't control future. No. Every human being experiences suffering, but why do only some people turn inward and begin a journey of self discovery while many others remain unaware and simply follow the path of the masses? Um, it might not be time for them to do that. It might not be the right time for them to enter that particular journey. They might not value it. They might be afraid. It challenges their identity, a lot of fear. It's a big shift, right? And a lot of people, like for me, I'm relatively adaptable. Yeah, like more flexible, psychologically, emotionally flexible. Um, so for me, it's easier. But not everyone has that same psychological trait. Other people can be more rigid, more self-defensive. Um, yeah, and there's value in staying asleep, right? Like you're the self, you're the universe, right? You're the self with a capital S. You're pure consciousness. And it's not time for consciousness to wake up in the form of that person just yet. Um, And it's just like their own path as well. Like this is how they're learning, right? Like that's the choices that they make, and then like the effects of their choices, the the consequences of their choices is how they learn. The karma, that's what karma is. It's just cause and effect. Um, yeah, the effects of their choices is just how they learn. It's how we all learn. Right? We all make choices. They have effects. We get to see those effects, and then we get to form patterns based off of, ideally we get to form patterns based off of like the effects that we actually desire that are healthy and positive. But often it's just stuck in the same old negative cycles, which keep us stuck in negative effects. Whatever. Not going to go too deep into that. Does our parents' doubt signal that we should doubt our own feelings, preferences, needs for separation? I don't think so, but I'd love to hear what you think. It depends what your parents' doubts actually are, and like the word doubt, no. If they have concern or caution, forms of caution, and they're talking to you in a very mature and respecting way, they actually respect your autonomy, then you can take them very seriously because they're just connecting to you and they have concerns. Of course, that's like, yeah, it's totally fine. But if they're just habitually doubting you, this is like, yeah, there's some kind of like, transfer of shame that's basically going on. Like you're broken, something's wrong with you. Like we can't trust you. You can't trust your own feelings. There's something wrong with them, right? There's like a transfer of shame that's actually occurring there. Transfer of like there's something flawed and wrong with me. Thank you, that helped. I kind of get it now. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm glad that helped. Um, what I meant is how hard is it to trust myself. What I meant is how hard is it to trust myself while living with parents who don't see me as a separate person? It still feels like I'm responsible for their fears, even though I know I'm not. You should communicate that to them. Like, just like you should actually communicate that specific thing to them. Like, does it feel kind of disrespectful? Like, does what they're doing actually just feel a bit disrespectful? Or like, yeah, you're just not feeling properly valued. You don't see me as like a separate person, right? Like, it can definitely like it's definitely worth communicating these kinds of things in like a respectful, grounded way. Um, and like, yeah, like, that it's going to change the relationship that you have to them. Um, but yeah, if there's forms of dissatisfaction in that relationship, it's definitely just, you have to communicate that. And like, it has to be taken seriously from their point of view as well. Like if you're communicating these things and they don't take it seriously, communicate your frustration with like, this matters to me, and like you're not taking it seriously. Like it's hurting our relationship. They're just like straight up, like this thing that you're doing is hurting our relationship. And I don't want that. Like I don't want our relationship to suffer. So like we have to talk about this. Uncertainty could be about something planned, or the most gruesome is uncertain about what people feel about you. Like after a particular social, maybe it's from people pleasing. So I'd recommend getting with the uncertainty component, get really specific on what you're actually feeling uncertain about. Like, yeah, like what do you act like? What's the like in get very, very specific. When you're feeling uncertainty, feel into it. It's just like have the intention to see what's true inside of you. It's like, okay, what am I uncertain about? And you have the intention to just get the true answer that's connected to that feeling into it. And then, like, if it doesn't, yeah, like make sure the answer that you get resonates with that feeling that you have in real time. And then work from there. Yeah, I'd recommend, like, yeah. Can you give me a vague direction on how I should proceed? You mentioned the first step is to feel my body and be present in the moment. A vague direction. Yeah, practice more mindfulness meditation. Yeah, like 15 minutes a day. Learn how to be in your body. Learn how to connect to your emotions. Um, yeah, like pick up some of the books that I've been recommending as well. This one right here. Like it's worth it to just read this, or maybe like Healing the Child Within as well. This is a good one. Healing the Child Within by Charles Whitfield. Like the thing is yeah, So yeah, when it comes to being yourself, it's just literally connecting to yourself in this moment. That's the thing, is that it's so simple, but if you're overanalyzing it, I think you mentioned overanalyzing. Yeah, like overanalyzing. Yeah, yeah, you did earlier. I just scrolled up to look at it. Yeah, exactly. Taking it as a signal from, yeah, exactly, exactly. And then listening to the signal, like intentionally deciding to listen to the signal. A vague direction would be to back to the authenticity question. Um, it's connecting to how you're feeling in this moment, right? Learning how to see what is true inside of you. You don't need, there's like a spectrum, right? And there's like a development to this as well. Um, but it seems like yeah, there's like an over analysis for some reason, right? Like what does over analysis protect you from? Right? And some level that's like a disconnecting strategy that you're using to get away from yourself. So honestly, like it's just worth inquiring into like what does my over analysis like actually protect me from? Like I want to just be present and I'm over analyzing. Oh, it protects me from just feeling in this moment. Okay, so I need to spend more time learning how to just feel in this moment, to consciously feel in this moment. In the same way that maybe you go to the gym, you lift weights or something. It's like I need to like practice feeling in this moment. I need to like actually build my capacity to feel and to be with emotions and to connect to myself. This is a capacity, right? You can be like, you know, you can have like this much capacity and then you can raise it to this and you can like raise it to that, right? So here, this is good as well. Another one. But yeah, radical honesty, because being yourself is literally about just being radically honest with yourself as well. Radical honesty. Yeah, it's a good one. Um, But yeah, like the thing is like you have to put this information into practice, which is like going to take time. That's just the reality of it, is that like the thing that you just asked is going to take time. Not that you can't do anything about it right now and that you can't make significant improvements right now. And like literally today, there's no like it's just that it is a development over time, right? Like that capacity to connect to yourself and to be authentic is going to just develop over time because it's been compromised over and over and over and over again in childhood, and it's like you're reestablishing that. I'm only going to stay live maybe for another like 15 minutes, I think, because it'll be like an hour and a half. And that's about all the energy I'm going to have. I'm noticing I'm starting to get a little bit hungry. But Kishore, if that's how I pronounce it, Kishore, ask me more questions as well. Tell me more about your experience if you want some more. Right, like I have some hesitancy towards pointing you in just like a vague direction because I don't see that as super helpful. Um, like yeah, like you mentioned the first step is to feel my body and be present in the moment. Like yeah, like literally go back to that. Like you're going back to learning to feel, learning to increase the capacity you have to yourself, right? Instead of it's like, okay, now what? It's like, no, like just stay with that. Like practicing mindfulness is important. And then like reading some of the books on the topic is important as well. The books that I recommended. But if you want to give me more details, I could answer significantly better. Yeah, because I'm obviously dealing with like minimal amounts of details. Why is it so hard for me to prioritize myself and focus on what I want for myself and not prioritizing myself? Wait, after not prioritizing myself my whole life so far, how do you feel about yourself when you prioritize yourself? Do you feel guilty? Do you feel like you're selfish? Like, do you judge yourself? Is there any self criticism there that you can identify? What are the feelings that begin to really pop up? Oops, shaking my camera. Yeah, how do you feel about yourself in the actual direct experience of prioritizing yourself? Oh, I feel guilty. Like, and also, yeah, there's like that disconnect from you and your needs, right? That's what I'm also talking about of like raising your capacity to connect to yourself, right? So it's like, um, yeah, like it can be hard to prioritize yourself because yeah, you disconnect from your needs so much, and now it's like the reconnection to your needs process is literally occurring. And then there's also blocks there. We disconnect from our needs maybe because we feel usually because we feel shame about them. we shouldn't have them. They're bad. It's wrong. It's selfish. So it depends on your conditioning, right? And all that stuff. What do you recommend for someone who wants to start meditation? Vipassana, basic body scanning, learning how to watch your thoughts. So Vipassana meditation is really good. Just learning how to watch thoughts, learning how to watch sensation, learning how to feel sensation. And honestly, this book right here, I'm gonna recommend. This book right here, also really good. Trauma and the Unbound Body by Judith Blackstone. Because it is like, yeah, I basically meditated for years before I really like, I went to like my first meditation retreat, and it really slapped me in the face that like I need to be in my body. Like I'm ignoring my body, and that's like the most important thing. Like my intuition communicates with me through my body. Right. Yeah. Toxic shame is tough because it's not like it's reoccurring, right? It's a habit that's not going to go anywhere. Right. This is a interesting thing. You're not going to get rid of it. That's just the reality of it. It's a defensive mechanism that's going to pop up again and again and again. But right. And you don't have to like eliminate that part of yourself. It's there for a reason. And you can respect that your mind is doing that for a reason. But you can build a new pattern, and you can get to the point where you feel safe enough, your nervous system feels safe enough so it doesn't have to rely on self-criticism and shame and self-judgment and self-rejection. That's the move towards patterns of connection. Yeah, and away from disconnection. Is that okay? These are my, like this unworthiness programming isn't going to get up and leave. But what I can do is I can be more intimate with it. Or I can connect to it more. I can see it. I can understand it more. I can respect it, and I can build the new pattern of self compassion, self acceptance. I can catch myself slipping into the old patterns as well. Yeah, you're welcome. By the way, yeah, this book is really good. Vipassana, body scanning. Yeah, yeah, like your body is literally like how your intuition talks to you. It's where you feel your emotions. It's how you just kind of feel your energy, right? Yeah. um, so getting into the body as well, practicing getting into the body is super useful for meditation and authenticity. You can't be yourself, you can't be authentic if you are disconnected from your body, right? I feel lonely, isolated, and I feel like I'm not getting any joy out of things I'm doing when I prioritize myself and do things that are good for my mental health. Um, yeah, you mentioned feeling lonely, isolated. Hmm. So yeah, there's so many directions that we can actually go with that I'd actually love to explore. There are just limitations to to only kind of like the text interface here. But yeah, give me an example. Like, give me an example of that manifesting in your life, if you want to, right? And if some things that are good for your mental health you can do with other people, that's also good. But really, give me an example of how that's manifesting in your life, right? Because in my mind, it's like, is there a fear of your aloneness and like your sense of just solitude, right? Or is it like you spend way too much time by yourself and all that kind of stuff? It was very fascinating to me when I realized that psychology isn't just about abstract head things. It's literally about our physical body. Yeah, exactly. It is. Yeah. Like a lot of this integration, spirituality, psychology, shadow work stuff is actually very largely about your body and actually not just like, yeah, abstract head things, as you put it. Um, Abstract head things are pretty cool, but we basically use our thinking to actually numb ourselves and dissociate from our experience. It's actually like a subtle mechanism. Becomes very obvious when you practice a lot of meditation that you go into your thought to actually escape being or just existence or the present moment and sensations in the present moment. Yeah, it's just a defensive mechanism. But yeah, it's really like the integration of everything, right? The synthesis of everything. It's like emotion, body, mind, and thought. Like it all has a good place. And it's like learning to engage with it consciously and in a way that actually serves you rather than in ways that disconnect, right? The bottom line, it's like, I'm not, at the bottom line, it's just, am I in patterns of connection or disconnection, right? Often when we're even in patterns of connection, we sabotage them as well. We go back to patterns of disconnection from our, the childhood patterns, basically. Hi, Lucas. I know you typically read psychology and spirituality books. Do you ever read philosophy? Um, Yes. But yeah, like, yeah, Eastern philosophy, Western philosophy. I'm familiar with like a good bit of it actually, but not like like, I'm not going to tell you every little bit of every philosophy ever, but yeah, I've studied literally dozens of philosophies. Um, it's just personally like I'm not finding much of a need for it. Um, yeah, because I mean, yeah. Um, yeah, personally, I just, yeah, the need for it isn't like super present in my life. I focus on like just like very practical and grounded psychology and spirituality because that's really just like how your life actually changes. And just staying in abstract philosophy is, um, yeah, like there's a difference between what I do and then like just armchair philosophy where we're just sitting in the armchair, just kind of contemplating like blankly, just mentally masturbating. It's like, yeah, kind of bullshit to be honest. Um, and then yeah, like if your philosophy doesn't actually transform your life at the practical level, it's kind of worth investigating, to be honest, what's actually going on there. Also, relating to things that we usually hate in ourselves, shame, anger with love was the most counterintuitive yet advanced stuff I could learn. I mean, love myself. Yeah, like when you actually, it's funny. Yeah, like if you criticize yourself, you beat yourself up. Like you don't have to actually. It's funny because it's like I have so many videos, the inner critic, shame, all these kinds of things, even like a pattern of disconnection, as I've mentioned over and over and over again. It's like while it's occurring, it's like you don't have to beat yourself up for beating yourself up, or you don't have to hate yourself for being in a pattern of disconnection. It's just like a part of being human. And all I have to do is recognize that, oh, I'm using a strategy of disconnection right now. That's what's true about my experience right now. That's what I'm actually doing. And then it's like, do I need to do that? Like, I can challenge these patterns of disconnection and teach myself through my direct emotional experience that it's safe to remain in patterns of connection. When I am being myself, I feel a certain emptiness. Staying present allows me to feel my uneasiness, and I'm at peace with my discomfort. But the feeling lasts only for a short while before fading. Yeah, the goal isn't really to like attach yourself to any feeling, right? And again, like, yeah, what is your uneasiness trying to communicate to you? Like, if you could put that uneasiness into a story, what would it be? What are you uneasy about? Right? Like, all feelings are signals. They're trying to tell you something and they're worth listening to. Yeah, I'm at peace with my discomfort. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. And yeah, the feeling only lasts for a short while before fading. That's every feeling. Like no feeling is permanent. Are the financial, technological, natural disasters and the prospect of a world war valid fears? Yeah, they're valid for concern. Yeah, they're valid concerns. But yeah, there is a such thing as taking it too far. Like, you know, yeah, like yeah, there's such a thing as just like worrying about it too much to the point where it becomes unhealthy. Because is does you worrying about financial, technological, and natural disasters and world war actually do anything, or are you just driving yourself insane? There's a difference between like concern and then like just making yourself neurotic. Um, because yeah, like what does it actually do? um, and again, like what's that is, I find the above concerns distracting. I'm not entirely following. Like you find the above concerns distracting. Like, yeah, no, okay, like, that's already like an interesting thing to say, right? It's like distracting you from what? Right? Yeah, like there is a very, like caution is obviously valid, but yeah, if it turns into a strategy of disconnection from something, it's not about I'm scared of world war or natural disasters. It's about there's something in my life that I'm avoiding, and it's actually like yeah, me being concerned about the environment or natural disasters is actually a strategy that I'm using to avoid, but it's wrapped in a cloak of I care about the natural disasters or something. It seems like we need a plan, but we can't plan for everything. Yeah, exactly, right? Life is balance. We need a plan, but we also need to be flexible as well and learn how to, because that's, yeah. So internal conflict, I always go over this in my coaching. Internal conflict is usually just two opposing forces, right? We have a need for structure and, you know, planning. We have a need for spontaneity and flexibility. We have a need for solitude. We have a need for connection. And usually, right, these are opposite forces existing inside of us. And then they're usually literally just fighting each other until we learn how to integrate both in a healthy way, until we learn how to inquire into inner conflict, right? Until we learn like the very real skill of just like, how do I honestly right now inquire into my inner conflict? Like, it doesn't even matter how much meditation a person does, because like the meditation can become a way to avoid the inner conflict. I'm going to meditate my inner conflict away. But no, it's like I have a pattern of a relationship inside of me that needs investigating. Do I remember myself as 17, 18 years old? Yes. Um, I do. Distracting from spiritual practices and all that. Yeah. Yeah. How are you breaking the cycle each day? I don't know. I'm not following the question. What cycle? Basically, I've been inauthentic growing up. Yeah, that's some honesty right there. I love that. Because I wanted to have friends and be accepted by people. Exactly. Now that I am trying to be my authentic self and take care of myself, it feels hard. Yes, exactly. Right. So many years of abandoning yourself to get love and approval by other people. But really, it's just fear, right? It's like I'm so afraid of not being approved. And it's like I abandon myself continuously. Um, but yeah, if you have more you want to share, you're free to share, of course. Um, but really, it's like, yeah, you might have certain beliefs around like, yeah, it's not safe for me to care for my own needs. It's selfish to focus on myself. Um, and again, right, we have needs to be selfless. We have needs to be selfish, right? We have, no one's going to care for your needs but you. No one's going to feed you. No one's going to put food in your mouth for you. You need, eating is a selfish act. I'm caring for myself, right? So you need a certain degree of healthy selfishness and healthy selflessness. Yeah, right. And that's usually another point of conflict inside of people, right? Because internal conflict, once again, is we have two needs, two energies inside of us that oppose each other, right? And then we usually get identified with one and then we repress the other. The one that's more dominant in us, yeah, takes its position and then we naturally kind of just like repress the other one. Yeah. That's like the formation of our personality as well, right? So, like, for example, I lean very, very heavily towards like building structure and long term plans and having like a vision, right? My girlfriend's like the exact opposite, right? Like the exact opposite, very spontaneous, just more like go with the flow. Yeah. Not that I struggle with any of that stuff, but it was definitely a point in my development where I had to learn how to like integrate both, right? Because we both have needs. We all have needs for structure and then spontaneity or connection and solitude, right? And healing is learning how do I move between these needs flexibly without disconnecting from one and then the other one beats the crap out of the other one. Basically, how do I connect to both and give them both a good place in my life? Um, I actually have not read. How do you even pronounce his name? Is it Nietzsche, right, or Nietzsche? Or I always hear so many pronunciations. I haven't read much of his philosophy, and I don't really care to because I just don't need it. If I can just be really brutally honest, it's pretty like some of it. I'm sure there's a lot of good stuff, but like, yeah, it's a little bit like depressing at times. But yeah, I haven't read much of his philosophy. And I don't really care to like, I just don't need it. Like, I don't need more philosophy, actually. I've read like 400 plus books. Like, that's just not the thing that I'm needing. I'm gonna scroll up because I've missed some questions. Do you have any tips or advice to be able to express these feelings without being anxious and afraid of outcomes? Yeah. So, what outcome are you actually afraid of? Are you afraid of people rejecting you? That's probably the very likely one, right? It's that if I express my need and my feeling, people will reject me and think I'm a loser and I'll lose love and all that kind of stuff. Um, so then we're looking at your relationship to being rejected, right? It's like, is it actually true that if I share this, people are going to have a negative reaction? So that's a belief, right? Is it true that if I share my needs and feelings, people will just have negative reactions, right? Largely, no. A lot of people actually won't. So it's like a belief that's wrong. That we are embodying that we need to actually look at and challenge. Um, and and then when people do react negatively, it's like, okay, like, am I capable of, feeling rejection, disappointment, right? Any pain that comes with that. Yeah, I can handle if I share this need, this feeling, and like people reject it, right? I'm capable of handling rejection as an adult. Rejection isn't going to kill me, right? I'm not even dependent on this. I'm not dependent on this person or their reaction of my need or my feeling. Like I don't need it to survive. I don't need anything from this particular person to survive. I'm an adult. I'm self-sufficient. Like I can take care of myself, right? So when you really embody that energy, it's like, yeah, the approval of other people becomes less important to you. It still matters. You still need a certain amount of approval to have good relationships and all that. But it's like I can express my needs and feelings, and like I'm not so dependent on the reaction that they have. And often they will have good reactions, especially if I just communicate in a healthy way. Um, what would you say is the author slash book that helped you the most, or would you recommend for someone? If you're interested in philosophy, I'd recommend Ken Wilber. He's got a really good, like, just unreal, like, just completely shatters most philosophers. Like, so much philosophy is unfortunately kind of garbage. Like, so much philosophy is just not very good. At best, it's like partially true, but then like there's a lot of just not very good stuff in most philosophy is like mediocre or like below average, like it's not like a lot of philosophy is not high, just top tier. So Ken Wilber, incredible. Um, this book right here, Healing Developmental Trauma by Lawrence Heller, really good. But if because you asked me about philosophy, that's why I'm mentioning philosophy. If you like philosophy, Ken Wilber, yeah, learn his integral theory, spiral dynamics, ego development theory. Like after personally, like after I've learned a lot of like that advanced psychological philosophy, psycho-spiritual philosophy, like I haven't had a need to go and read a lot of other philosophers because like it ends up, like a lot of the truth and then the good ideas, like I just hear them over and over and over again. It's like, you know, there's only so much philosophy that I need, to be honest, before I just do something else. It's like, you know, you might have touched on it, but what about non-duality? Believe it, and that personal identity isn't real. I don't believe non-duality. I know that it's true because I'm directly conscious of it. It's literally present here. Personal identity isn't real, but nonetheless, it needs to be integrated. Yeah, it's constructed, but it's also not. There's a difference in Ken Wilber's philosophy. Funny enough, that's the question. He brings up this good idea of transcendence and inclusion. So you transcend the ego while also including it and creating a healthy ego. Transcend the relative reality, right? While also including it. So you don't deny it or repress it or fight against it because the illusions are there for a reason. The illusions, respect the illusion. That's an advanced insight, right? Don't have to fight the illusion. The illusion is there for your amusement, for your, to be experienced, right? The illusion of self is there to be integrated and experienced, not repressed and fought against. But yeah, personal identity depends on what level of reality you talk about. From the absolute perspective, it's completely fake and imaginary. From the relative perspective, it's there, but the relative perspective is imaginary. It's constructed. But yeah, like healthy non-duality is about transcendence and inclusion rather than transcendence and repression. I'll stay alive for a little bit longer. I'm having fun. But yeah, if you have non-duality questions, feel free to ask. And I prioritize myself and try to be authentic. That's an interesting way to phrase. I try to be authentic. You don't have to, right? That language gives away something. I'm trying to be authentic. I'm not just like being authentic. Like I'm doing, right? Authenticity is more immediate than like, it's not something you have to try to be. It's just what you already are. It's just the truth of what you already are. I feel bored and the loneliness feels so heavy. I am also conflicted between trying to make friends and finally giving myself attention. There we go. Like I mentioned earlier, the need for solitude and then the need for connection, right? There's a conflict there. It's both, right? The boredom is real, but embrace boredom. Yeah. Loneliness as well. Yeah. If you feel lonely, like it's both. Yeah, like make friends, go out and create connections, socialize, right? That's just a part of life. Like you're gonna have to do that because you just have needs for connection. That it's funny because they go back, they tie into each other, right? Prioritize your need for connection and go connect with some people and go make friends and talk to them. And also, yeah, if you feel bored, taking care of yourself, and prioritizing yourself and your needs, that's valid. Yeah, it can feel boring if you're used to. Depends what you're used to, right? Depends what your normal state is. If you're used to a lot of entertainment and a lot of just stimulation, everything's gonna feel boring, right? But then you gotta kind of detox from all that stimulation because life is boring boredom is kind of a funny state, to be honest. It's a little bit like arrogant almost. Like this experience is just so boring, like this experience sucks. It's like who am I to say that this experience sucks? Um, but yeah, it's also it's also okay. Like I'm not it's also okay to just say like, oh, I don't like this experience as well. Just being bored is a blessing, exactly. But it's something to inquire into. Again, like boredism, boredom is also something just to, yeah, right. It's like, what's your relationship to being bored? It's like I'm bored and I have to escape my feeling of boredom by like just going and scrolling or something, right? And often boredom, like, is it really boredom, right? Or are you just like remaining in states of like chaos as well? Because this is something as well. Some people will confuse peace with boredom, stability with boredom, right? Have you ever experienced feeling superior than others for being more spiritual and healed? Yeah, so there's actually, I like that question a lot. It's really good. There's a sense of like, yeah. So I'm trying to like think on how to phrase this, and I'm getting hungry, so I'm kind of running out of energy at the moment. Um, Boredom is my favorite religion. I know I was thinking Buddhism and boredom at the same time. Boredism. So not all feelings of being better than another person are actually invalid, right? Because sometimes the fact is that you're actually better than another person. Like for example, right? You know, maybe like LeBron James is better than me at basketball, and he should feel better than me at basketball because it's actually true. Whether it turns into arrogance or not is something else, and whether someone's like rude or aggressive about it is something else. But it's true. Yeah, sometimes it's like you are superior at something than someone else, and like that sense of being better, it's not like my identity is better than your identity and who Luke, like my identity is better than you, but like I just might have more skill than you in something. And like I can feel that sense of superiority and like confidence and like authority. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like the book by Marcus Aurelius on meditations. I like that one. Um, yeah. I have it. I pulled it out actually on stream. Pulled it out a little while ago. Maybe I don't know where I put it. Yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, it's pretty good. Depends on what your goals are. If you're interested in Marcus Aurelius and stuff, and it's definitely good. Have you ever read any Ram Dass? No, actually, I have not, and I don't really feel much of a need to as well. Yeah, I've seen some videos and stuff by him, but like, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of resonate with other people more, to be honest. Um, yeah, I resonate with yeah, just like other people, but more. Although there's nothing wrong with Ram Dass, and if you like Ram Dass, totally fine. I just personally resonate with other people more. But yeah, I really like the question of feeling superior because that's great to hear. Because spirituality and healing sometimes can teach us to be afraid of ever feeling superior, which is shame. Yeah, because it's like sometimes you actually do have feelings of superiority. They're there. You can just be honest about them, and sometimes there's nothing wrong with it. It's like, okay, I'm better at, I don't know. Well, LeBron James is better at basketball than me. Yeah, he should feel better at basketball than me. Of course. Have you read the book The Mountain Is You? No, I have not. Um, I've seen it on Amazon a whole bunch of times. Um, honestly, the books that I read are usually like advanced psychology at this point. Usually just a lot of like very advanced psychology, like a lot of, yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that I'm very interested in. Advanced psychology, like, yeah, advanced, yeah, like in, advanced psychology and like relationships, money, career, um, self integration, self actualization. Yeah, like advanced psycho spiritual stuff for the most part. Um, that's like a lot of the books that I'm personally very interesting. Have I ever been to Europe? Yes. Yes, I have been to Europe. Um, and I would love to go back as well. Yeah, Europe's awesome. Guys, I'm going to end this sometime soon because my energy is just fading away now. Um, because I'm hungry. It's almost dinner time for me. But maybe like 10 to 20 minutes more and that's it. So if you guys have, yeah, like questions and anything that you want to share, once again, share them and I shall answer. But yeah, haven't read the book The Mountain Is You. Um, yeah, a lot of the books that I read are like they're usually pretty niche. They're like I've read so many books that I choose the book that I want to read next very specifically. I've read The Body Keeps the Score, and I would not actually recommend it unless you are very interested in like a good critique of like okay, it's good, but it's very like conceptual, right? Like The Body Keeps the Score. It's like the marketing behind that book is incredible. Um, and like it's a good book, but if someone is like a ordinary person, you're just a pretty typical human being and you just want to get into like practical healing, like I would not recommend that book because it's not practical. Like so much of it is just impractical. And it's a good book and I'm ripping on it, but like it's a bit overrated as well. Just the marketing behind it made it such a mainstream thing. There's other books that are a lot better for like just practical healing and making just real shifts in your life. But like the basic framework of the book is really good. And like the conceptual framework that he outlines is very visionary, right? If I should say positive things about it too. It's a very good book. But yeah, for like, if you're not like a big reader, like I wouldn't recommend it. Like it's not an enjoyable read if you're not like if you're not like me where you just read for the hell of it and just because you can, I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend Trauma and the Unbound Body by Judith Blackstone. I'd recommend like the work of Lawrence. If you want to go deep into trauma and healing trauma, it's this book right here, Healing Developmental Trauma by Lawrence Heller. Like without a doubt, like one of the best, super practical. All of the core things are like outlined in that book. Like a lot of like the core fundamental things are just there. Can you show me the book again about shame? And can you show me a book that you think will be good for learning about how to prioritize myself? Yes, and I'll show you two about shame. If you just give me 1 second. And I will actually show you three about shame and self-sabotage. Okay, so this one right here, again, the work of Lawrence Heller, Healing Shame and Guilt. This one right here is absolutely incredible. Very like direct and like just very like gives you just a core framework for like, yeah, you know, the developmental roots of chronic shame and guilt. Like you get, that's the promise he delivered on the promise. That's all I can say. Healing the Shame That Binds You by John Bradshaw is also incredible. I'd recommend both. Like, if you want to get a good understanding of like toxic shame and unhealthy forms of shame, both. And this isn't, unhealthy shame is literally like rooted in like everyone. Like, it's like the number one thing that like actually causes, for the most part, like psychological suffering. Like, the core repression mechanism that humans use um, is shame. It's unhealthy forms of shame. This feeling that I have is bad, all this kind of stuff. I shouldn't have this impulse. I shouldn't have this need. Self-judgment, self-criticism. There's another one. My girlfriend currently has it. It's called Embracing Your Inner Critic by Holland Sidra Stone. Absolutely incredible. Again, it's like just incredible because the inner critic is just a manifestation of chronic shame. Once again, unhealthy, toxic, chronic shame. And a good one as well to go a bit more into like self-sabotage and how that all relates to self-sabotage. Yeah, The Big Leap right here by Gay Hendricks. I remember listening to the Shame book by John Bradshaw last summer. Yeah, it's definitely really good. But yeah, self-sabotage and shame. This book right here, The Big Leap, super easy book to read, super chill, super thin, pretty small. It's a pretty easy read. I found The Body Keeps the Score to be more of a case study on trauma and its context in the healthcare system, exactly, but not a method to heal trauma. Exactly, you actually completely nailed it. Exactly, like that's what I'm saying. Like the framework that he gives, and if you're into like psychiatry and stuff like that, like it's super good. It was eye opening as a reader who knew nothing of trauma, but I suppose anything would be. It wasn't pleasant overall. Like it wasn't pleasant overall. I agree. Like I read that book and it was not pleasant. Like he talks about internal family systems, which towards the end of the book, and he has some good things on like yeah, like he has some really good points in that book that are like really really good, but I definitely agree. It's just like trauma in the context of the healthcare system for the most part. And if you're actually wanting, like, yeah, if you want a good framework of trauma and how it operates in the healthcare system and like the shortcomings and limitations of it, and then like where we need to go in the future to make it a lot better, it's top tier. And if you are like a little bit nerdy and you love like conceptual frameworks and philosophies and like paradigm shifts and examining belief systems and all that kind of stuff, you will have a bit of fun, and I like that stuff, but it's like it wasn't enjoyable. Like I read it and it wasn't pleasant relative to just like, yeah, you can just read like Richard Schwartz or something. Like I would recommend this book any day to someone if they're looking to just heal trauma or know their shadow or like evolve spiritually, feel more connected to themselves. That and then this one right here, like this book is like so much better. Somatic internal family systems. Like it's so much more practical. It's just like the work of Lawrence Heller as well. Richard Schwartz, Susan McConnell, Lawrence Heller, like way more practical. Body Keeps the Score is just super impractical. Like I just can't help but criticize it that way because it's such a mainstream book and everyone's like, the body keeps the score, the body keeps the score. And I read it and I'm like, dude, like really? Like it's a good book, but like it's not doing like, if you're a beginner, which most people are, like it's not going to do much for you actually. Like you don't need to know this information as a beginner. Like you need to know like the practical stuff. I really appreciate you or any of those books about learning how to prioritize yourself. So when you don't prioritize yourself, that's actually that's rooted in shame. Yeah, like that avoidance of your needs and that rejection of yourself is rooted in shame. So when you don't prioritize yourself, when it's necessary to prioritize yourself, that self-rejection is shame. And yes, the yeah, all the ones that I mentioned will actually help you with that, but especially these two. Especially these two. And honestly, yeah. Yeah. I'd recommend starting with this one because it's just like, oh man, they're just both really good. Like just read both. That's it. I'm not even gonna prioritize one over the other. Just read both. Do you have a degree or ever think about getting a degree on psychology, by the way? Started No Bad Parts because of your suggestion, and I love the concept of having different personalities inside ourselves. I have no desire to get it. I don't care. Yeah, I don't. I just personally, um, I'm not a big fan of like how education actually works in our education system, standardized testing, all those kinds of things. Like I don't learn well in those environments. It would just be like, yeah, I don't. And like even the things that they teach in those psychology classes, like yeah, I don't know. Bit of a grievance. I don't know. I'm not exactly satisfied with mainstream education. That's why I have thousands of books. That's why I have 12 billion books behind me. But yeah, I've had conversations with like therapists as well, and it's like I don't know what's going on in some of those sessions. I've coached people who've been to therapy, and then like I'll dig into stuff, And I'm like a little bit like it's sad to see that like they've been to therapy, but then like really important things that absolutely need to be touched on because they're like the roots of their wounds are just completely left blank. And I'm thinking like what is actually going on inside of some, and there's really good therapists, by the way. I'm not hating on all therapists. There's really good therapists. Like Richard Schwartz is a therapist, Lawrence Hall is a therapist. Like there's incredible therapists, and I've literally studied dozens of therapists. But like how do you find a really good therapist or a really good coach? Like what does that even look like? You know? And most are not that good. Like the overwhelming majority are just not that good, unfortunately. Do you ever want to become popular, even mainstream on YouTube? I don't care. Yeah, that's actually just genuinely not something I care about. Just connecting with the right people. Um, if popularity is a byproduct of that, that's cool. I get it. It does not go as deep as it needs to go. Yeah, exactly. It just straight up doesn't go as in the psychology class. It doesn't go as far as it needs to go. Um, Lucas, was it a particular life crisis that brought you to? I've actually already answered this question in the stream, but so I'm not going to answer it again. I'm sorry. Um, but you could go to my Instagram, and I do have like a my story post. It's pinned, and that'll actually kind of answer that question. But it wasn't really a particular life crisis. It was just like it was really the pain of not self actualizing and not feeling connected to a sense of purpose and just like suffering, right? Just not actualizing my potential. And then start to get into meditation. Um, wasn't a particular life crisis, but yeah, suffering. That was like a big case, like not being the person that I actually want to be and not actualizing myself. And then just, like I said this earlier. I got you. Yeah, my bad. I don't want to. I'm answering the question a little bit anyway because yeah, I want you to be able to get an answer. But when we don't self actualize and self transcend, it hurts. Um, we have needs for self actualization, self transcendence, and when we don't get them met, there's pain in our life. Just like if I don't eat food, my stomach hurts, or if I don't get the connection that I need, I feel too isolated and lonely, and it hurts. And so I wasn't self actualizing, I wasn't doing self transcendence work, and it hurt. And then I started, and it was very difficult, but I stayed with it. Um, I wish it was more about understanding the root rather than just numbing you with meds. Yeah, therapy, like, psychiatry, I don't think a therapist can actually prescribe you medication. I think that's a psychiatrist. Um, I'm not even sure. It might depend on where you are, but I'm in Canada. But yeah, a big part of it, there's such a big business element um, of it as well. Um, yeah, with like the medication component. Yeah, like the roots, the reality is that like our system can't even actually like properly support people who like actually really want to go deep on this kind of stuff. It doesn't really exist in our mainstream system. It's very scarce. Like it's very, 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 very rare because it's just rare on the planet in general. It's like high consciousness people are just very, very rare in general. Like if you know spiral dynamics, it's a developmental psychology model. People at the higher levels of development, it's literally like 1%, less than 1%. And then that's stage turquoise, less than 1%. And stage yellow is like maybe 5 to 7%. But yeah, I don't know much about Rudolf Steiner. I'm having psychology subjects start next year. Yeah, I'm already anticipating feel superior in that class. That's it. Yeah, like you'll probably have a good psychological understanding relative to a lot of other people in that class. And if you like psychology, will probably find that it doesn't go deep enough. Something that also really disturbs me is that so often in school they'll throw up the hierarchy of needs, Abraham Maslow, but they won't really like explain it very well. But if you actually look at Abraham Maslow's work, it's insanely revolutionary. It's so good. Toward a Psychology of Being, The Further Reaches of Human Nature, like just incredible. The Psychology of Science is a really good book by Maslow. I literally I could not find an actual copy of it online, so I had to like literally print it. The Psychology of Science by Abraham Maslow. Insanely good book. Yeah, Maslow's work is so good. Um, but never really explained. And he didn't actually turn it into a pyramid. Like the pyramid wasn't actually his idea. It was someone else for like simplicity's sake in the context of like business and organization. They took his ideas and they just put into a pyramid. His actual work is so incredible. Yeah, people like will simplify his work because of the pyramid. And it breaks my heart actually because his work is like super inspiring and just like downright incredible. And like I can't believe how good it actually is. Um, but yeah, people will get what self actualization actually is incorrectly as well. So many in his books he explains it's just so good. It's just like a very high consciousness high consciousness reads in general. He just quite evolved actually. How do I know when I am being authentic? I want to hear your thoughts. I feel like I know when I'm being authentic, but I would like to hear your opinion. Is what you're expressing true? It's as simple as that. Is it true? Like, am I being, what's the feeling that I have? What's the need that I have? How do I actually feel? What do I like really, what's actually going on in my inner world? And then am I bringing that to the external world in a way that is like accurate? I'm curious how psychology is being taught in Canada. I am from Latvia, and I think our education is just, yeah. I didn't take psychology in school. Actually, I just read a million books on it. I'm just personally like insanely interested in it. I did do behavioral science actually. I lied. Um, yeah, I did do behavioral science, but like it was just it's just not good. Like at the time of doing that, I had already read so many books on psychology that it was just like mentioned like they would talk about like Piaget a little bit, kind of, but not enough, not really. They were still talking about like BF Skinner, which is good, like it's like some of the roots of psychology, but like it's just like not like it's not good. It's just like it often has too much of an academic feel as well and not enough of just like a practical human sense. Like it's not like connected to the heart enough. And I like academic stuff as well. It's really important. But like, dude, it's just not like it doesn't go far enough in my opinion. And it's just not educating people at the levels that they truly need to be educated on. Yeah, thanks for joining, Mark. If you gotta go, you gotta go. It's probably like 2 a.m. your time right now. Thanks for joining, man. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of like mainstream it's just not shallow enough. Mainstream education, I mean, it's not shallow enough. Um, it's too shallow. I mean, yeah, like the topics just don't go deep enough. And the raw reality is that if you love something, you have to spend like many, many hours on it. Like I've been reading psychology and practicing meditation 8, 9 years now, right? Tried too much to fit in with science. Yeah, the pharmaceutical aspect of it does make it soulless. And it's like, yeah, yeah. Psychology is actually incredible. Like it's literally like the most important field because every area of your life is going to involve psychology, like your habits, your career, your relationship to money, your relationships with other people. So like understanding how your mind works at a practical level in your actual life is literally like the most important thing you can actually do. It's like the most important subject. It's like how does my system function? Like I'm here, I don't really know myself very well. I need to know myself, but we don't do that in school. None of that. But yeah, that's my grievances with education. It just doesn't go deep enough. And then I had to do my own education for years and still do my own education. Education is just a part of my life. Like I love learning and I'm not going to ever stop enjoying learning. Like I have a very good relationship to my desire to learn and to be curious. Thank you. Would you say the same thing for when someone is alone, expressing what is true? I'm not sure if I'm going to think about that for a little bit. Do you believe spiritual progress correlates with income? Um, hard question. I have ideas. But like, is Elon Musk spiritually evolved? No. Like a lot of the people who make the most money are highly narcissistic because our capitalist system like rewards very narcissistic and psychologically just dysfunctional behavior in a lot of cases, like psychopathic behavior. But there is also, yeah, like here, absolutely beautiful book, Wired for Wealth, like incredible. Wired for Wealth. I have another one over here. You're gonna watch me get up and get it. And I have one right here. It caught the corner of my eye. The Psychology of Money, Wired for Wealth, The Trauma of Money. All these are really good. And then Sacred Economics by Charles Eisenstein. I have it. I just don't want to reach for it. Is also really good. Income isn't necessarily correlated with spiritual progress, but I feel like, yeah, like you're wired for wealth, in the sense of like you're wired to have like a good relation. Like, yeah, like it's, how do I want to phrase this? Like, yeah, like having a good, healthy relationship with money is almost like how it's like quote unquote supposed to be, right? It's like that's like an authentic way to relate to money or to, how do I want to phrase this? I mean, I'm a little bit hungry, so my brain is short circuiting, guys. I apologize. But yeah, spiritual progress isn't necessarily correlated with income, but in a sense, um, in another sense, it's like, yeah, there is like an interesting relationship between like raising my consciousness, right? Raising consciousness and then like my relationship to money. Like it's impossible to raise your consciousness um and improve spiritually and then not like bring that into money, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean like endless income and endless growth, right? Because sometimes it's wise to actually make less money. It's funny. This is an interesting conversation. Yeah, sometimes it's wise to make less money for a little bit so you can maybe change careers to do something that you really want to do, and then you can go back to making more money. Um, so I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like spiritual progress and income, and they're just correlated and endlessly like that. But yeah, spiritual progress and a healthy relationship to money, yes, those are very, very like they go together. And if you go really deep, yeah, if you really go deep, it's awesome, but mainstream psychology doesn't go deep enough. I agree. Yeah, a lot of therapists and psychologists, like, um, they shouldn't, like, I've heard horror stories working with people. As you know, I just do inner work and integration coaching, right? I call myself a trauma and self actualization coach, an inner work and integration coach, right? Um, I've heard literal horror stories from clients about like therapists and psychologists and stuff like that. Like just horror stories where I like can't even believe that, like I just can't even believe my ears. It's just it's sad. I'd love to see you do a live or recorded one-on-one sessions with someone, or maybe creating a Reddit community where people post their stories. Deep diving into individual cases would be great content. It would be, but my one-to-one sessions um, are private. Like I don't want to like just display it to the world. Although that, yeah, I could also just do it with a person who like agrees to have it recorded. Um, I've thought about that as well. Definitely makes good content. Um, but yeah, I can think about it. But I literally just started live streaming, so one step at a time for me. This is my second live stream. um, yeah, it's very nuanced actually. Yeah, when it comes to spiritual progress and income. Yeah, super nuanced, right? Again, a really good book is literally this one right here, Wired for Wealth. Like 100% just super good because it dives into a lot of like our subconscious programming and relationship to money. Yeah, it's a nuanced take, like really good. Yeah, they're literally like, yeah, just incredible work to be honest. Um, Depends on how you make money. I love that conversation as well because most money in our world is made through um, destruction of life for the most part, right? Like our economy, our global economy is literally like just omnicidal, meaning that it's like an all-killing machine. So it destroys the environment, destroys human well-being, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, take care. Thanks for the time. Yeah, exactly. We're grateful for the stream. Yeah, honestly, I need to start wrapping it up. I'm staying for 8 minutes. Okay, like this happened last time because it's so fun to stream. I have so much fun streaming and talking. But my stomach tells me that I need to eat food, and I really am. My energy is going down and down and down and down. A lot of engagement on this stream. Super fun. Because like when the ball gets rolling, it's just so great. It's like just have an awesome time connecting and talking. But yeah, 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. I'm done because yeah, I definitely need to eat food. I definitely need to, yeah. I mean, how does someone know they're being authentic when alone? Um, like authenticity in the way that, yeah, it's usually very relational. So when you're like alone, what does that mean to you, right? I like you a lot. I'm glad I found your channel. I'm glad you're here. Um, I guess I need, in regards to your question, I need a little bit more. Like, what do you mean, like authenticity when alone? Thank you. Listening while I do housework. Oh my God, Julie, thank you. That's incredible. If you have questions at all, yeah, feel free to share. Yeah, um, literally ask me anything. Yeah, literally anything you want. Emotional well-being, self-integration, shadow work, psychology, meditation, anything at all. I'm here to serve you. That's the point of the live stream. I had a great time too. Love the live stream so far. Thank you for giving us your time. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why not? Yeah, so how do you know if you're being authentic by yourself? Like when you're alone? It's kind of funny because like authenticity is more relational, right? It's like I'm being authentic in my relationship to like another person. But when alone, maybe it's like, are you doing the things that like really fit your needs, and are you doing the things that like you're actually excited by, and the things that feel rejuvenating to you, and the things that like give you energy, and the things that like fit your values, right? They fit your values as a human being. They actually provide you with healthy energy. That's kind of how is what I'm doing actually like. Is it a connecting thing that I'm doing, or is it a disconnecting thing? Does it, align with my needs and my values and my real feelings, or does it disconnect me from them? And right, it's like, do I listen to myself? Do I not listen to myself? Yeah, like it's a real skill to know how to listen to yourself, and you can't just be like, oh, do meditation to do that. Although it's super important to meditate and to like everything, meditation will help so much with that. But really, it's like a real time thing, like learning to right now, as this emotion pops up, I'm feeling it. I have the capacity to be present with it. And I can ask, yeah, if I could turn this feeling into a story, what would it be? What is the signal this emotion is trying to give me? Or, yeah, what's the message this emotion is trying to give me? Because the emotion is a signal, right? And then learning to differentiate between intuition and trauma, because trauma is disconnecting, intuition is connecting. Trauma is misleading you, intuition is guiding you. Um, yeah, for example, like I'm always anxious about money, right? I'm always anxious about money. I'm always anxious about what people think about me. Yeah, like it's really rooted in like fears that you have, scarcity, fears of rejection, shame that you hold about yourself, unworthiness, right? So it's worth just to like, yeah, recognize, okay, like these responses are coming from trauma, right? I need to investigate them. I need to actually build a relationship to these parts of me that I'm not seeing, right? That's why they keep popping up, and that's why pain keeps popping up, because there's something that needs to be seen. And then intuition, there's an instinctual feeling of like this is actually healthy. Thoughts on Advaita Vedanta, great stuff. Love Advaita Vedanta. Yeah, Advaita Vedanta is awesome. Um, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's great stuff. Um, for like a spiritual philosophy, and that's it. Just putting it within the niche of spiritual philosophy and an awakening philosophy. It's really good. Yeah, it serves a good role. The only thing that I would say is to not get stuck within any particular philosophy. Don't get stuck in Advaita Vedanta, because Advaita Vedanta is not going to help you clean up your relationship to money or your relationship to other people. Um, it can help in like indirect ways, but like life is so multifaceted and complex that like it's like one Advaita Vedanta is one hell of a piece of the puzzle. Like it's a good piece of the puzzle for spirituality. But yeah, yeah. Give everything, give the rest of life attention to. There's a place for shadow work, there's a place for self-actualization, there's a place for enlightenment and awakening and Advaita Vedanta. There's a place for career and business, there's a place for relationships, there's a place for fun and pleasure, there's a place for structure and long-term planning, right? Like the overall goal is transcendence and integration, transcendence and including. Um, Love Advaita Vedanta though. Very direct, very to the point, which is good as a spiritual philosophy. It needs to be clearly communicated so that it's not misunderstood and quite direct, I believe. Yes, I meant like just deciding what I want to do in each moment for myself. How do I know I'm being authentic or myself? So does it actually like I recommend getting clear on your core values and learning to get clear on what you actually need. Like what are your actual needs as a human being? What do you need psychologically and emotionally and spiritually? Physically, of course, like shelter, food, water, clean air. But what are your psychological, emotional, spiritual needs? Do you act in alignment with them? Right? Like, do you self actualize? Um, yeah, like, why do you do the things that you do? Like, what's fueling the things that you actually do? From what inner place do they come from? Yeah. So, you're being authentic when things align with your real feelings, real needs, real values. And things are not authentic when they don't align with those things, when they are just like conditioned into you, like, oh, I should go and I don't know. I should go and do this thing, but I don't actually like it doesn't actually fit my needs and my real feelings and my values. I should always go and exercise every single day or whatever. Like, authenticity feels refreshing. It feels like I'm just connecting with what's real and alive inside of me, right? I should go and clean my house, for example. But it's like actually in this moment, like what I really need is to like rest and relax. And like I can clean my house tomorrow. I don't have to neglect responsibilities. But like it might be more important for my health and well being right now to just relax and rest. Yeah. How do you shoot so many deep videos so often? It's awesome. Do you have a system? Um, like Yeah, I just make them. I've been doing it for years, It's like, how does Steph Curry shoot three-pointer after three-pointer so many times? Um, he's just been doing it for years, You practice and you get really good at it. Yeah, after meditating for 8 plus years, reading 400 plus books, it just becomes who I am to be able to talk about these things and to shoot deep videos, easily. Like I wrote one today spontaneously. What type of meditation do you prefer? Vipassana and self-inquiry. And sometimes, like, it depends what I want to do. Sometimes I'll just relax. I just relax and that's it. I just meditate and I just have the only intention. The only intention is just to relax. Sometimes I'll, you know, increase my capacity to just feel pleasure and enjoyment. Sometimes I'll just scan my body and I just want to be in my body. Sometimes, just some self inquiry. Yeah. But Vipassana is like a really good place to start. Vipassana is just awesome. And self inquiry for like breaking identification and the ego and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm going to attend David Vipassana. Have you been? Any tips? Best book on Vipassana? The only thing I can recommend is try and aim for. It's so funny because I was talking about 10-day Vipassana retreats today with my friends. Yeah, I've done like 5+ retreats. So the only thing I can say is to um, try and meditate for about an hour a day. Until then, try and get to the point where you can meditate for 1 hour. You can even break it into 2 periods of 30 minutes, but get to the point where you can meditate for about an hour a day and get really work on building your capacity to feel what's going on, to feel pain and to feel pleasure, to be with emotion. Definitely really good. Thank you. I feel like I'm doing good at aligning with my core values. I still need some work. I feel like I'm on the right track. Awesome. Like the discussion earlier about money because I used to be around people with a scarcity mindset and always have to keep working through that. Yeah, like scarcity is, our ancestors literally came from scarcity, where if they did not, succeed in getting resources, they would watch their loved ones starve to death. Like we lived in tribal societies. Our ancestors were very tribal. If you didn't get the resources you need, yeah, it was very real. Like it was hard, it was brutal, right? So we have that programming in us. But nowadays in our society, it's largely not the case that there's not enough. It's largely the case that that we can actually, yeah, create awesome systems for getting our needs met. Yeah, and it's kind of like a self-reinforcing sort of loop, right? Scarcity kind of just reinforces itself. It's like you keep filtering reality through the perception of scarcity, and it's just so coded into us from our evolution. What if something like making exercise? Um, wait, I'm trying to understand. What if something like it's worded a little bit rough for me to read, but I'm gonna try my best. What if something like exercise is something your body needs, but it just doesn't feel authentic to you? Okay, so movement is authentic to you. Like exercise is movement. Movement is authentic to you, but you might just have like a you know what's the relationship that you have to exercise and movement, right? And it depends what exercise. There's forms of exercise I'm sure you'd love to do. Maybe you like sports, maybe you like running, maybe you like weightlifting. And at first, I weightlift. At first, it was very boring and I didn't like it, but now I love it, right? So, yeah, don't make firm decisions without much experience. Um, I'm just saying in general, not that that's what you're doing, but just in general, um, because I could have easily said like weightlifting is inauthentic to me, but I didn't have much experience when I started many years ago. Advaita Vedanta, I think of as a grounding truth. After getting away from traditional religion, I've always felt the need for an objective truth or like making some sense of this existence. Yeah, Advaita Vedanta is awesome. But yeah, like getting your needs met is authentic to you. Back to the exercise question, getting your needs met is authentic. Taking care of yourself will feel authentic, but you might have a diminished capacity for caring for yourself and getting your needs met, which is something that is worth working with and increasing that capacity. What are your thoughts on manifestation? Um, do you do techniques like visualization, affirmation? Um, Nuanced. So affirmation is awesome, but like, so the thing is that affirmation and visualization, the point is like, if I just sit here and I'm like, oh, I'll be a millionaire, I'll be a millionaire, or something like, it's not going to happen. Um, Really, like you create your reality by being the version of you that like is capable of creating the things that you want. Like, yeah, like I'm a coach. That's my identity. I coach people, right? Like I coach people. Like I'm a freaking fantastic inner work and integration coach, like top tier, right? Like I created that. It's who I am, right? And that's why my life is what it is and all that. That's why I'm able to do this. So I manifested it by being it and actually just creating it. Affirmations are incredible for challenging beliefs. Something I do in my coaching is when we identify some kind of belief that's keeping them stuck, like money won't be here to support me, for example. We can challenge that belief using affirmations. So I personally like to use affirmations very strategically to challenge beliefs that are keeping us stuck in cycles of suffering. And again, you can't say at the level of your mind. Like when you use affirmations, it's about feeling into what it's creating. And again, it's so nuanced. Because some people will react to some affirmations with like resistance, which is a thing to investigate and kind of like look at, right? Because when I do affirmations sometimes in my coaching, like we're probing for how do you actually respond to the affirmation? Like when you have some kind of belief like, oh, money won't be here to support me, even though maybe you're in like a financial position where money is actually, you're good and money's always been there to support you. You have no experience of like, you know, not having enough to pay bills or buy groceries or all this kind of stuff. Right? So it's like we're looking for like how does your nervous system respond to that? Money will be here to support me. Like are you able to like and as you repeat it, when you feel into that affirmation, are you able to like relax and be at ease or does it provoke fear and like it's like something, it's not safe, right? So it's very dependent on like what are you using the affirmation for? Like how does your nervous system respond to it? It's really like you know, every technique is awesome as long as it's done in the desire for exploration and truth, because you can use visualization and affirmation in a way that's super disconnected from like actually changing your life or like doing anything positive for you and actually fuels disconnection and just dysfunction. Same thing with meditation. You can meditate to avoid things, um, but it needs to fuel seeing what's true about yourself and like, yeah, right? Like exploration and a desire for truth just needs to be present. Curiosity needs to be present. Do you believe that there is value in waking very early? Do you eat meat? Do you consume alcohol or cannabis? I don't drink or smoke. Do you eat meat? Rarely, mostly fruits and vegetables. And is there value in waking very early if you want to? Yeah, I like waking up early. It's nice. I don't like waking up extremely late. Um, yeah, it depends on what your goals are. I I know people who wake up extremely late, like very late, and they're awake almost all night because like their schedule calls for them to kind of do that, and they actually like it. Um, so yeah, if you enjoy waking up early or you want to wake up early, it's definitely great. There's like a certain quality of just peace and calm in the morning, which is nice. I also like personally, I like being able to see the sun. So yeah, I personally just like being able to see the sun and be out when it's like, be awake while it's bright out. Um, and after the sun goes down, I'm usually slowly kind of going to bed. Yeah, maybe a couple hours after it. No, no caffeine. I don't need caffeine. I have more than enough energy. Um, Caffeine, when I drink caffeine, it's just kind of anxiety, not necessarily anxiety, but like uneasiness. It's just dysfunctional. Like it's like I don't need this. It's just like adrenaline. It's unnecessary adrenaline. It's like I'm sitting on the couch and I'm pumped with adrenaline. Like I don't need this. People are very addicted to caffeine as well in our culture. It's like people use it as a crutch. No judgment, by the way. But it's definitely very true. Like it's definitely like used as a crutch, right? So you don't consume any forms of caffeine daily, not even in teas. No, no, no. Um, yeah, it's caffeine for a lot of people, it's um oh man, there's like an old cartoon, I forgot. There's a scene where this kid's parents, like it's like before drinking coffee, they wake up and they're on their way down the stairs, and then like the kid's like, "Hi, mom and dad," and they're like hideous creatures. They're like they just look disgusting. And then they drink their coffee and then they look like beautiful and like energized and all that. But yeah, like if caffeine is something that you're very dependent upon, um, yeah, if you don't, yeah, it might not be a healthy relationship to caffeine. Maybe I eat chocolate sometimes. That's like caffeine. I like dark chocolate, but I don't yeah, I don't consume it. And I like decaf coffee as well. Like I love the taste of just black decaf, but I don't need caffeine. I don't really think it's like most of the things that yeah, like it's just not needed. I don't like you have energy. Like your body has enough energy when you give it what it needs. Give it the sleep it needs and the nutrition that it needs. Like it largely like yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I didn't anger anyone with the caffeine dependency. Yeah, I haven't consumed caffeine in about 2 years. I now can have dark chocolate. The dependency people have on caffeine is a major cause of chronic stress. Exactly. In general, yeah, dysfunctionality. Exactly. It's dysfunctional, right? It's an addiction to caffeine, an addiction to like adrenaline. Yeah, I've been dependent on caffeine for 5 years, thinking of quitting recently because of this. I just love the feeling. Super addictive though. Exactly. It's very, very addicting. Um, wow, it was very validating to hear that you don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. to be healthy. Mark, you're still here? Dude, it's 2:30 a.m. your time. Go to sleep, man. I'm just kidding. Do whatever you'd like, man. Um, to be healthy or spiritual or disciplined if you don't want to. Yeah, you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. if you don't want to. I used to be an addict. I've quit lots of drugs. Caffeine was by far the hardest to quit. I used to drink a lot of green tea, and then one day I just quit. I drank green tea almost every day for like a year straight, and then like I just like quit one. I didn't ever like I just stopped. Like cold turkey, I just stopped. I was like, okay, like I just kind of don't want to drink it anymore, and I just stopped. But yeah, caffeine. I personally don't have like a super addictive personality. I have um I don't want to use the word like high levels of self control or anything like that, but yeah, I am very like yeah, like I don't have like a super addictive personality for the most part. Meditation helps a lot with that. Um, but yeah, it is just straight up an addiction. It's not healthy for the most part. The state is just unnecessary adrenaline. You're better off just getting a lot of sleep and nutrition and hydrating properly, and your body will run fine. Like I don't ever experience forms of fatigue. Um, yeah, like it's just largely not needed. It's just largely you don't need it. But yeah, the withdrawal is definitely very hard. And yeah, like a lot of society, a lot of people are just really, really addicted to caffeine. It's definitely a sensitive topic because people get really mad when you challenge their addictions. They literally react like addicts. They just like lash out, they get kind of crazy about it. They get really angry, which you know shows you that there's something else going on um, when that's the case. But yeah, um, addiction is hard, man. Like the human mind is literally wired to form addictions to cope with pain. Because yeah, life is crazy, man. Life is complex. Life is scary. Life has a lot of pain in it. Um, Life is also very beautiful and pleasurable. It's duality. Um, but yeah, I personally believe we would be a lot healthier if we learned addictions at a young age. Like at age 5, we're teaching the kids about addiction. No, I'm kidding. But like it needs to be in school. Like, yeah, because literally everyone has addictions, right? Like everyone has forms of addictions, and it's like hard to break them for a lot of people. Like I don't, like I've done a lot of work on like certain addictions that I have. The closest thing to an addiction would be like maybe like yeah, screen and internet. Even though my usage is very very low, I don't even touch it for a lot of the day. Um, I don't really have like junk food addictions for the most part. Even like having cravings, right? Like yeah, like how to handle cravings. It's just so important because addiction is just everywhere in our society. It's like everyone has forms of addictions to cope with unresolved needs and trauma and pain. Um, and yeah, the whole point of addiction is to just like numb me to the present moment. It's like, how do I not be present? How do I not be present to something that I'm experiencing right now? Okay, I've went way over like the times that I actually said that I would get off. But I'm loving live streaming. It's so fun. Never liked coffee, always made me feel anxious or uneasy. Yeah, I just the adrenaline is just not needed for me. I love the taste of coffee though. I love black coffee. I will drink like decaffeinated coffee. Actually, I don't do it much. I don't do it very much, but like every once in a while I will because I do love it. All right, guys, I'm going to go in like a few minutes. If there's any final questions, because I need food. If there's any final questions, let me know. Let's try and keep it on the topic of like psychology, spirituality, all this kind of stuff. Gonna try a 30-day coffee detox because of this. Thanks. Good luck, man. Good luck. Definitely worth, yeah, definitely worth doing a coffee detox if that is, yeah, something that like you're struggling with, right? Um, if you feel like you're dependent on, like if you can get to the point where you're honest with yourself and it's like yeah, I'm dependent on this, like I can feel the dependency, it's worth challenging that pattern that you have. um because obviously like you don't want to be dependent on it. Like if you're dependent on it, it's like it's an emotional and psychological crutch, right? It's like there's just something to look at. But dude, good luck. Good luck for the coffee with the coffee. Yeah, definitely dependent. I love the honesty and I love like yeah, like I really appreciate you sharing, by the way. It's incredible to even just have like the level of honesty where it's like, yep, I'm dependent on it, right? And yeah, it's super like yeah, just the honesty when you're addicted to something is like just to acknowledge that it's a problem. Like, yeah, I have a problem. That's just that's important. Um, I'd recommend hydrating very well. Like buy some lemon, cut up a little bit of lemon, and then like squeeze a little bit into your water in the morning. That's like a good place to start in the morning, just like with some really good hydration. Um, because yeah, guys, I am going to stop now. If you guys want to go deeper, if you guys want to work with me, I do offer one-to-one coaching. Yeah, the pinned comment is there. It's also just on my YouTube. It's on my website. So if you guys have any questions about that, you can literally just DM me about it on Instagram. But I am going to greetings from Italy. That's awesome. I'm actually part Italian. My heritage is like Dutch. My dad's side of the family is Dutch, and my mom's side is Italian. And yeah, but yeah, guys, I'm gonna go. If you guys want to go deeper and you want like one-to-one attention, you want to go really deep into like yeah, your emotional world, your inner world, psychology, spirituality, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, consider one-to-one coaching. But other than that, guys, I gotta get going. I need to eat dinner. Happy Saturday. Thank you guys for being here. Bye.